All right, so I'm just going to go raw and get started because normally I have somebody introduce me, but oh well, whatever. Welcome. So, how many of you had a great 2025? Okay, real quick, go around the room. Big wins, just start shouting them out. What was the biggest win you had 2025?
We increased the size and cost of our packages.
Okay,
I helped a client get off of alcohol and cocaine and stay out of prison.
Wow.
Yes.
we should have had you go last.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I got a job offer with New York Life, and it got me back to Knoxville, which is where I wanted to be. So I'm super happy.
Awesome. Who else?
Got my
Big
magazine
win.
to print.
Huh?
I got my magazine to print.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Got someone on hospice, and she's now traveling with her husband, and her husband, but we saved her life. Me? Better. I don't really get it.
I know. Just, but keep in mind, it's like what I pray about is like every single one of us are on God's mind. So doesn't matter how big, how small. The fact that it came through you blessed somebody. So what was it?
Our company grew significantly. We're now in 5 states and developed a huge brand new territory this year. So.
Okay, fantastic. Who else? Go ahead.
We streamlined our experience. So it's very exciting.
Awesome. Anybody else? Big wins. Allie, you got any big wins for 2025?
Yeah, I played, let's see, I started with the company in October. I was required to place 8 kids within a year, and I placed 8 kids in 4 months.
Fantastic.
How you follow all that up?
Who else? Go ahead.
With our business, we've been in our spot for 3.5 years, and the first 2.5 years was very much like a big wave, up and down, up and down. But 2025 was very consistent, and then we ended 2025 on a bang. So,
Fantastic.
Yep.
Awesome stuff. Anybody else? Okay. Cool deal. All right. So 2025 is in the bag. And one of the things I want to encourage you to do is go into 2026, taking all the stuff that worked in 2025, bring it into this year, and then walk away from today with some additional tools added to your arsenal. So that way it's not just a saying, because everybody and their grandmother starting to start towards the end of December, all the way through the end of this month, they're going to be, make 2026 your best year ever. It's a workshop you don't want to miss. If you miss out on this, life's going to change for you, et cetera, et cetera. It's all pie in the sky if you don't actually do something about it. Okay, so the tools that we're going to, even if you just get one thing today, just one thing that you can take action on, write that down and commit to take action on it. So it reminds me of a story. Back in the late 1800s, there was a very successful preacher, almost like a Billy Graham back then. Started off, young, and the next thing you know, every single town he went to, they had a whole process. They would come in about 2 weeks before. They'd go around the hillside. And keep in mind, it's 1800s. There's no cars. There's no internet. Google has not actually been invented yet. And so they're going around the countryside inviting people, come Sunday afternoon, 12 p.m., hear about the Lord. And every town they went to, the tents were packed. They were busting at the seams. They ultimately had to roll up the slides, and people were in their horse and buggies around the tent. And this dude just became super popular. And so he comes upon this one town in the Midwest. And I mean, it's like a business. The process works, right? We've been having the same process over and over and over again. Now, what happens in a business when you don't assess your processes for a while and you just go with the momentum, but you forget to adjust and reevaluate? What happens typically? You experience a cycle, right? So he comes to this one town, he experiences a cycle. Same thing, goes out, hands out flyers, everybody's going and so forth. Come Sunday, all the chairs are lined up. They got the biggest tent they've ever had because sure enough, this tent's going to hold everybody in this town. Come about 11:50, nobody's there. 11:55, nobody's there. 12 o'clock supposed to start. Nobody's there. Preacher's up there going, looking at his assistants, looking at all the deacons going, we did everything. Finally, this one lone cowboy comes riding up on his horse, hitches it to the stake there, comes in, sits down in the front row and is ready for some church. Okay. Preacher comes up down off the podium and goes, cowboy, man. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened, man. Like every town we've gone to, it's been flooded. What should I do? Cowboy goes, I don't know, man. I'm just a cowboy. But I tell you what, if I went out to feed my herd and only one showed up, I'd feed it. Rich goes, you're absolutely right. Goes, hops back up on stage, and for the next 3.5 hours, gives the best sermon he had ever given in his entire life. I mean, sweat dripping. He's giving it everything. Comes off stage. He's going, oh my God, that was great. That was the best speech I ever gave. What do you think? Cowboy goes, literally, Cowboy's sitting there. He's like overwhelmed. He's like, not falling asleep because the guy was giving all of his energy. And the cowboy goes, you know what? I don't know. I'm just a cowboy. But I'll tell you what. If I went out to feed my herd and only one showed up, I'd feed it. But I wouldn't dump the whole load on. Okay? So today, each one of the speakers today, okay, we're going to share with you some of our best content, our best ideas for 2026. We are not going to dump the whole load on you. Okay? My encouragement to you, each one of the speakers that come up on this screen, there's going to be a QR code. Please scan that QR code, connect with that speaker. I've hand selected on a silver platter each one of the speakers that are going to be here today. They are going to talk about an area of business that really, if you want to scale and grow, you're going to want to master that area of business, and they are a resource there for you. So let me start off with this. There are normally 3 questions that people have whenever I speak anywhere. Number 1, who is this dude? Number 2, why should I listen to him? And most important, the radio station everybody tunes into, what's in it for me? Sound about right? Okay. All right. Let me see if I can answer these 3 questions, telling you a little bit about my background. So at age 17, this house is located on 40th Avenue and East 14th Street in East Oakland, California. My stepdad's mom owned it in her family, probably well over 100 years. She was never there. I kid you not. I went in that house one time because we were a cat lover. Okay, we just got another cat. This woman had 19 cats in this house. I went in, closed the door immediately. The smell was just like, I'm not coming in here. But my mom and dad decided they were going to split up in April of 1987, and I decided not to go with either one of them. I told my dad, I said, pick this trailer. It's about the size of 2 of these tables, or this section of the table put together. Take that, put it in the back of this house, and I'm going to live on the streets. What? Yeah. You guys haven't taken care of me since I was 13. I've taken care of myself now. Here's the reason for the story. How many of you have been through some challenges in life? Okay. How many of you have experienced setbacks, frustration, okay, disappointment, etc.? I get it. Leverage that tenacity. Okay. The fact that you're still here today, you have survived through that. God's going to take that and make it for his good. Okay. I didn't know that at the time. It was a big pain in the butt. I remember my dad going, well, how are you going to shower? I'm like, you let me figure it out. How are you going to eat? You let me figure it out. I literally chose to go on the streets of East Oakland versus staying in my parents' house. Okay. That's how bad it was. Now, fast forward, July 21st, 1987, not that I remember. There was a guy that I went to work for when I was 12 years old, on Dixon Auto Supply, Gary Ballard. This guy right here and his wife, Virginia. I'm working at their, I decided, you know what, I can't do high school and have 2 jobs to support myself. I dropped out of high school, it was 11th grade. And his son, Tim, goes to drop me off at that house one day. And I walk down the driveway, I forgot my jack, talk about a thin line. Okay, and I'm going somewhere with this story for all of you high D personalities that just want me to land the plane real quick. I'll get there. So I forget my jacket. He comes back. He comes walking back. And as he comes back there, I got tears rolling down my face because I'm like, my dad was a tow truck driver. My mom was a waitress. I'm amped up on drugs. I dropped out of high school. And I'm literally going, is this all? Like, I did not want to live at that point. He comes back there. He sees me and he comes back and says, what are you doing back here? I go, well, this is what happened. Long story short, this guy took me in. Okay. Said, no, you going back to school. How many of you know that life can change like that at the right moment at the right time? This workshop could be one of those workshops where myself, somebody here, maybe you meet somebody here in the lobby or getting coffee or whatever, they're going to say something and it could literally create a transition moment in your world. There's a book called The Tipping Point. I highly recommend you get that book. You never know when that tipping point's going to happen for you. Okay. And that was the tipping point. Gary said, no, one of the things he did not know is me and his own son were drug buddies. Okay? My repayment for him for setting me up was to rip him off because I needed to do my drug habit. July 21st, 1987, 12:35 in the afternoon, not that I remember. Okay. He sits across from me, he says, how can I help? And I said, no, I'm good. Okay. 30 minutes before I'm going to put a bullet in my head, God sends a drunk angel and they bail me out. I get cleaned up. Rest is history. Go back, get GED, National Guard, etc. Discovered the importance of a mentor. That guy changed my life. At 12 years old, I started sweeping his parking lots and doing all this. He said, it doesn't matter that you're living in a very poor home. I grew up in a poor home in Kansas, John. Okay. It was the whole rich dad, poor dad thing. So when I met Robert Kiyosaki, I was like, oh, dude, I went through the same thing. But the thing is, he kept telling me, you can be anything in life you want. You don't have to follow the steps of other people. You need to be your own man, John. He started feeding this into my brain at 12. And so when I met this guy, I hand selected him as my mentor because the first business I started at age 20, the guy wanted me to go out and talk to perfect strangers. I just got out of tech school, man. I don't talk. How many of you do not like picking up a phone and making a cold call? Okay, I would rather have a root canal. Okay, and or every day, by the way, instead of that. And so I failed miserably. How many of you failed in business before? Okay, congratulations, high five, welcome to the club. I failed miserably in that first business because I hated sales. And one of the very first topics we're going to talk about is mindset. And what I ultimately had to do is I had to let my ego down and my pride down and say, if I don't master sales, I'm never going to succeed in business. I said, dude, I will do whatever you tell me to do. He was a multimillionaire at the time, still my best friend today. It was funny as I was telling him about this talking. You remind him what I told you about. And I'm like, what's that? He goes, there's only 3 things that matter in sales. How many people did you contact today that you asked for an appointment? How many people did you run an appointment with where you got to present and ask them to buy and they said yes or no? And then how much money did you make? All you fancy salespeople that want to have a CRM and a database, he goes, dude, here's my cell phone right here, my brother. It's a little flip phone. I'm like, dude, you're 70 years old. Of course you got a flip phone. And he goes, I just want to remind you. Okay. At the end of the day, the only thing we actually have control of in business is contacting somebody about our business. Whether they sign up, whether they sign on the dotted line, etc. We have nothing to do with that. The only thing we have control of is we have a nice fire pit going. We put a log on there. We put a log on there. We put a log on there. And that's it. It's all we have control of. And that's one of the things I learned from him. which ultimately led me to land at the center page of the top business publication in Sacramento called the Sacramento Business Journal. 63.9% growth between 2007 and 2009. What was happening in 2007 and 2009?
Recession.
Okay. But because, if you need a dream, be a minority partner in a company. Okay. Do not own the majority of the company. And then you find out you don't own anything. And so when they changed my game rules on me, I started my own company. Now this sucked because I do sales and marketing. I did not know bookkeeping, accounting, which is why I got these great speakers here today, because I didn't know bookkeeping, accounting, HR. I remember Phil Bristol coming in and going, I assessed all your employees. I figured out your turnover problem. I'm like, okay. He goes, well, you got 11 employees. This guy right here, based off of his assessment, I think he needs to be in a different role to be a lot more productive. Or release, here's my favorite term, release him back to the marketplace. All right. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. He goes, now let's talk about you. I go, okay. He goes, I figured out your turnover problem. I go, what? He goes, nobody likes you here. I'm like, okay. He goes, no. Everybody thinks you are an a-hole. And I'm like, okay. and I mean, just like this, he goes, did you hear what I said? I mean, yeah, nobody likes me. So, what's your point? Like, I'm paying you all this money to tell me this. He goes, you're actually serious. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. These people work for me. Now, what's wrong with that problem? Okay. He let me know, hey, you want your freedom, right? Yeah, you want a company that runs without you, right? You want to drive a car and go travel and be gone for a month and all this stuff you say you want, right? You're never going to get there. In order for things to change here, John, now this is going to hit hard for somebody in here. In order for things to change in your business, you have to change. I kicked him out. I'll be nice. Get out of my office. I'm not going to say what I actually said.
Yeah.
I was mad. I'm a stud, right? I mean, 1.03 million, man, 63 point. Man, I'm a big deal. How many of us have met people like that? They walk into a networking event, it's like, man, I went to $1 million last year. Oh man, that's great. Like I had that status, man. I had that ego. And she'll understand. You know how much I was taking to the bottom line? My EBITDA was like 3.4%. What's wrong with that picture, right? It's like I got all the bragging rights and the ego, not open to anybody's advice. My employees are making more money than me. Now, don't raise your hand if that's you, but we're going to solve that problem here today, once and for all. Every single person leaving this room today, after hearing the speakers that I've lined up here, and we're going to bring our A game, you're going to be able to take what we talk about here today, and not only are you going to make more money this year, okay? But I'm going to tell you right now, it all starts here. Every single client I've coached now, about 1,086 businesses over the last 27 years. I learned in 2015, design the life you want first, not the business. How much money do you want to make in 2026? What kind of car do you want to drive? How much time do you want to have off? How much freedom do you want to have? How much impact do you want to have in the people's lives that you actually care about? How many more employees do you want to have? I mean, what is the life you want to have? How many vacations do you want to take? Vacation? What are you talking about, John? How about your first vacation? How about we make that happen this year? Okay. Now, once we get clear on the life, everything we're talking about here now matters. It's never about the how-to. And Alicia Turner is going to nail it down. It's about who, not how. It's hiring the right who to do the right how. Now, if you're the one figuring out everything in your business, hopefully after today, you're going to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Because I just sat down and Alicia, it's like I'm sitting down with this client last month and super excited, $1.1 million in revenue, $780,000 in payroll. Now, what's wrong with that picture? Just do the math. Now, that doesn't even mention the
Other
rent, the
overhead.
lease, the overhead, all that stuff. And didn't want to shut it down, okay? And I say, well, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna come in as a team and turn this thing around, and here's how much it's gonna cost. I can't afford that. Now I'm gonna give you one of the best clotheslines on the entire planet, okay? You just look back at your client and you go, I get it. It's expensive. Yeah, and it should be, okay? Because you're actually in jail. And if it costs that amount of money to get out of jail, would you stay in jail? And let that pause sit. And they'll say, no? Okay, well, that sounds like we're going to work together and help your clients get their business. So many business owners in this country, they make a lot of money on the top line, but they are chained and strapped to their business. 85, 90, 100, well, probably 95 hours a week is the top person that they have to deal with this year. Okay? So don't want you to be a slave to your business. So get a mentor. Is really it. There's two outcomes for today. Number one is I'm going to talk about 3 ways to create a great strategic plan. And then at the end, I'm going to share with you a mastermind group, several mastermind groups that we're going to start this year. I've held off on starting these things for the last 4 years because I took a little break because of COVID. My son got me into golf, or I started doing golf more. But now that we're settling everything back, I think it's time to start it. How many of you understand it is better to learn from other people's experience than to learn from your own?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to share with you a couple of different mastermind groups you're going to start. Some of them are going to cost money. Some of them are you may be in a business that is a B2B only business, and you are focused on $1 million companies and above, and you can do business nationwide. I have a private mastermind group. It doesn't cost a dime. It's just me and how many people we have now? Like 7 or 8 people. And we just sharpen each other's sword every Monday. You know, it's either that or go join a little tip group or so, or BNI somewhere. Okay. And we're like, no, we're going to meet in person, man. You know? So mastermind groups are very important. I'm going to talk about the importance of those at the end. Let's get into one-page plan. So one of the things that came out of Phil when he told me I was a jerk and I kicked him out of my office, I called him 2 days later and I apologized because my wife at the time told me to. And I was a good, great, husband and did exactly what I was told to do because I didn't know any better at the time. So called him up and I said, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't fix this. Like, I know sales, I know marketing, been able to achieve $1 million, big deal. My operation sucks, man, and I can't fix this. And I am willing to submit my ego and change. Very first thing he did was he said, this 27-page business plan, he literally took it in my office in front of me. Like, I paid a guy $10,000. You'll think it's easy. Well, it's so much easier to create a business plan today. Okay. AI, I can crank that out, man. But back then, it was like 10, 15 grand to get an SBA approved business plan created. Okay. And he just took it and he ripped it down the middle. Went over and trucked in my trash. He goes, all right, because I hired his butt. I said, you're going to tell me. And he goes, okay, but here's the deal. And I'm like, he goes, no. You told me you committed to do exactly what I tell you to do. I'm like, yeah. He goes, until you get to $3 million, you don't need this gigantic business plan. Okay. That's where EOS comes in and Entrepreneur Operating System. Right now, you need a 1-page plan. That's it. Okay. And you don't have to worry about all the materials. Alicia's going to make sure everybody gets an entire Dropbox folder with everything that I'm talking about here. Okay. The 1-page plan was the biggest game changer. That was like, I don't know, 18 years ago. Before I get into that, that literally changed everything. I built that company, I bought another company, built that company, merged them, sold them, consulted thousands of businesses until they get to $3 million. A one-page plan is more than sufficient. You will get there 10 times faster when you are forced to put your thoughts on one page. Because too many of us want to get fancy with our businesses, and we waste a ton of time organizing our files. There's a hidden joke there. But I'm going to teach you today how not to do that and how to get laser focused, okay? 3 ways to a great strategic plan. We got the inner game, outer game, and action. Inner game has to do with our mindset. And Judy's going to do a phenomenal job here in a minute to really help us with our mindset. We have our outer game, which has to do with our systems, our processes. We got Leanne, we've got Chris, we've got Mike, we've got Steve, brain fart. That's going to really give you some systems in place. And I'm going to come back in. I'm going to wrap it up with how to take massive action. Because how many of you know you have the best mind game you can find? You can be the most centered person ever. Okay. You can have systems in place. You can have your ducks lined up in a nice 1, 2, 3 order. But if you don't get your butt to take action, how many of you know it's just simply not gonna? Okay. So I'm going to share with you what are the things that we do to play consistently at a high degree of action all the time. And it's not 85, regardless of what somebody says, it's not 85, 90 hours a week. Okay. When you're first starting off, yeah, you're going to work a bunch of hours. But the biggest mistake I see most small businesses make, I've made it, is they hire their strengths first before they hire their weaknesses. And if that's you, welcome to the club, because that's the majority of the people. Okay, we're doing a complete 90-day business transformation, which ultimately, what was it, Alicia? It was like a 42-day rescue mission at first. It was like, I'm going to run out of cash in 42 days. And I'm like, well, we're talking about, I don't know, 300 grand in payroll. And then she let the other cat out of the bag. No, we got enough cash to last us for 6 months. Okay, so we can do a 90-day turnaround versus a rescue mission. And so we'll talk about the inner game mindset there that she has to go through to change is the key. If she doesn't go through that, she might as well shut the company down, because she's already creating the blocks first. Let's talk about the inner game. When we talk about the inner game, we're talking about mindset. And one of the mindsets of a champion is that there's always room to grow. How many of you would agree with that statement? Okay. How many of you would believe? Now, answer this honestly. Okay. How many of you believe that you have potential inside of you right now to perform at a higher level than the level you've been performing? Thanks for your honesty. Me too. And one of my favorite people to talk about is Michael Jordan when it comes to mindset. Arguably, in my opinion, still the #1 basketball player of all time. You have to be a great basketball player just to play in the NBA. But what made Michael Jordan so great is what he did around mindset. And every single off season, true story, every single off season, he would go back and watch hours and hours and hours of film. That's how long ago it was, by the way. Okay. Of him playing basketball. He'd have a notepad, he'd sit down and make little notes. And he had this long list of things that he wanted to see improved in his game. Things that he liked, things that he didn't like. And once he felt he was done, he would sit down with a mentor, coach, several coaches, several mentors, and he would whittle that down until he got it down to one thing. Not 20 things, one thing. It was a huge laborious process. And it's written in the books. I forget the book it was written in, but he finally nailed it down. One year, it was his left hand. That's what he discovered. If I spend the entire off season doing nothing but working on my left hand, it will make the biggest difference in my game. Next year, it was his strength training. And each year that he played basketball, he did this process. It was a mental exercise. And it was that consistency that made Michael Jordan great. But that's Michael Jordan, okay? What about us? We can take the same principle and go back to 2025. And Alicia is going to send everybody my annual planning questionnaire. The reason I'm not going through here today because it is intense and it's going to ask you questions about every single area of your life. And it will help you create one of the best strategic plans for this coming year that you've ever been able to create. You can call me if you want, but the way I've laid it out, just follow it. Okay? You're going to nail down what those one things. This last year, what was the one thing I did, Allie, is I committed to a 5 a.m. morning routine. That was the number one thing. That was the only thing I actually had to worry about the entire year. Now, we got a lot of stuff done. But I decided going into the year because, Eric Laughlin taught me this back in 2012. That one thing changed everything. It impacted every single area of my life. And it all started with a mindset. And so what you want to do is go through that exercise. Go back and think about the top thing: faith, family, fun, finance, fitness, business, friends. Evaluate all those things through that lens. And I'm going to give you some tools here today on how to do that practically. Okay. So we're going to bring up Judy because Judy is going to talk with us about mindset. And so let's see. Certified Napoleon Hill instructor, author, positivity coach. She's transformed her life after surviving open heart surgery and 5 strokes. She now teaches people how to overcome fear, worry, and negativity, creating health, wealth, and joy in both life and business. Her mission: help you start the year with clarity, confidence, and abundance. Please welcome Judy Avon. Oh, go for it. Taking your water? I'm very good for
I have 3 questions for you. The first question, raise your hand. That's the easiest way to know if you're answering it. Who here has ever been in a corporate job or are still in one? Okay, that's a good percentage of us. Put your hand down. Who here has ever either been a hiring manager or you have had to hire people for your company? Wait, not done yet. Best student in the class, right? Hand up. And they had a stellar resume, but when they actually got on your team, you realize you made a mistake. Oh my gosh, that's too many of us. I've done that too. Last question. Who's been on any team and the person was selfish, negative, a little bit braggadocio? Oh, we're all in agreement. If you raise your hand for any of those questions or all of those questions, you have experience in action one of the universal laws. Today, in this short time together, I want to talk to you about the power of the universal laws. There's 12 of them. Generally, people agree about the 12. A couple of them are called different things. That's not the important part. These 12 laws have changed my life forever. I first discovered them after my strokes, lost my job. That's a long story, doesn't fit in here. You'll have to go into another talk. But it's what inspired that book, 365 Days of Abundance, that I wrote 4.5, 5 years ago. Because I read hundreds of books about universal laws. I wanted to know why I'd been a Christian my whole life and I didn't know what they were. So I tend to go on and on about them, so I had to discipline myself. We're just going to talk about 3 of them today. The reason they're important is they've been around for thousands of years. You first see them in Egypt and India. Then you see them in the Hermetic principles. They're based on history and science and theology. You'll find every single one of the universal laws in your Bible. You just didn't know they were there. They actually run your life. And if you don't know what they are, you get in a lot of trouble, actually, in different ways, different days. But if you know what they are and you know how to use them, it changes your life forever, because it changed mine. So I'm going to share 3 of them with you today. Universal law of vibration, universal law of relativity, and universal law of giving and receiving. Now I want you to participate. I want you to use one of the areas of your subconscious mind. I want you to close your eyes and go to your imagination. Close your eyes. I want you to imagine a room. There's a lady sitting at a desk. It's a nice office. It's not a cubbyhole. She's sitting at a nice desk. Her name is Maya. Maya looks discouraged. Her business has stalled. Her team is flat. Every decision seems harder than the last. She puts her head down at the desk and she goes to sleep, and she starts to dream. Open your eyes and come with me to Maya's dream. She's standing at the end of a long hallway, and in that hallway, there's 3 doors on the left, all with little brass plaques on. First door says vibration. The second door says relativity. Third door says giving and receiving. Now, Maya doesn't know their universal laws. They're just brass plaques, and it's her dream, so she's going to go open the door. She goes to the first door, and she turns the knob. And she's puzzled. In the room is a big table with 2 old-fashioned radios on it. You know, the ones with the big knobs? And she's standing there, and one of them starts making noise. It's like static, and oh my gosh, it's harsh, and it's loud, and she puts her hands over her ears. It's like, oh. And then it stops. And she's like, oh, that's good. Then beautiful classical music starts coming out of the other radio. It fills the room with calmness and clarity. She relaxes her shoulders. She feels a lot better. And then she starts to ask herself, so why the radios? What does that mean in my dream? The guide steps out of the shadows and he says to her, your business responds to the frequency you broadcast. Not the one you intend or the one you want, but the one you actually emit. Maya, at that moment, saw her business and her leadership clearly. The rushed meetings, the tension she carried with her all the time, the fear she was afraid to show. It wasn't her team that was wrong. They were just responding to her, matching her frequency. She knew that if she wanted her business to rise, she had to up her vibration first. I'm going to step out of the dream for a minute because I want to tell you a story. Maya's going to the next room right now, so she's busy anyhow. I have a friend who owns 2 pharmacies in a small town in Tennessee. And she and I were planning an event much like this with the business leaders in that town. And we were having lunch to plan it. And she said, so what are you going to talk about? So I started talking about the universal law of vibration. It's one of my favorite universal laws. And she goes, oh, let me interrupt. She goes, I think I have a vibrational story. Well, people don't usually say that to me. They usually want to learn the laws first, but she was jumping right in. And she said, one Saturday morning, one of my pharmacy managers of my 2 stores called me and said, I've got a family emergency. Can you please cover me? So she goes to the drugstore. There's a long line of people waiting to get in. As she's, leading them back to the pharmacy, she's greeting them and saying hi. And when she gets behind the pharmacy to start mixing medications, she tells a joke on herself. She says, I'm a little slow. I haven't done this for a long time, so be patient. I promise I'll get everything right. And then she starts talking to talking to people. Her humor, her great attitude made everybody different. Like nobody was complaining about it taking too long or grumbling or getting on their phone. Everybody was talking to everybody else. Everybody was having a good time. When she locked up the door, she said, "That was the most fun I had running the pharmacy that I can remember." That's an example of the universal law of vibration upping what's happening in the business. Well, Maya's at the second, let's go back on the train. Maya's in the second room. And she opens the door and there's a huge mountain landscape there. And on the mountain are two climbers at exactly the same place. One of the climbers looks up at the top and says, "Oh my gosh, it's so far away. I'm so tired. My legs hurt. I don't know how I'm going to get there." The other climber looks back and goes, "Oh, I've come so far. This is going to be easy. I've got tons of energy left." Our guide is there again. And he says, "Your business needs your perspective. Perspective is your power." Maya realized she was looking at businesses 10 years ahead of her and feeling bad about herself and conveying that to her team. Instead of looking behind her and saying, "Oh my gosh, guys, look what we've done. Look at how good last year was. Look at the things we learned from it." She goes, "I know that if I don't change my perspective, I will not experience the power of my perspective and the fact that it's a leadership tool to lead with a different perspective." I have to step out of the dream again because I always have a story. This story is about the famous Viktor Frankl, who wrote Man's Search for Meaning. Anybody ever read Man's Search for Meaning? Oh, cool. Well, you're going to get a prize later, just because you raised your hand and I like participation. Viktor Frankl was in the concentration camps in World War II. And he describes it, and we've all seen the movies, heard the stories, but just a short version. It was mean circumstances. They had broth with something floating in it. They didn't know what it was. Mattresses as thin as rulers, gas chambers, depression. But Viktor Frankl talks about the men that he was with that survived and went home, that they went up in their heads and they saw bar mitzvahs, parties, weddings, the faces of the people who loved. And that perspective changed their life because they went home. Viktor Frankl did more than that. He not only went home, he developed logotherapy, which is a way to help people learn from suffering. And his famous quote, which I use probably every day, like the meaning of life is to give life meaning. Use that in your business, the meaning of your business. Give your business meaning. Why do you do this? Not just to make money. Don't do it just to make money. Money is a form of energy. Money is just one of the things you need in your life. Okay, back to the dream. So Maya's going into the third room. And she opens the door. The guide appears. Now you're going to do this with Maya, okay? So put your pens down, be ready. Maya, take the deepest breath in you can take. All the way in, everybody. Now take a little more. Maya goes, "I can't do that." The guide says, "You have to release to receive. You have to give something up to get the thing you want. This is the universal law of giving and receiving. Think of this. There's a vacuum of prosperity. If you don't have a vacuum for God to fill, you're not going to get that thing you wanted to get. Maya saw that she was controlling everything, holding everything close to her chest. She was not generous with her employees or her customers, with her praise or forgiveness. All of those emotions that we want, we have an opportunity to give them. And look at it, it's a universal law that has two sides. The giving's over here, the receiving's over here. So you're saying, look, I want the good part, I want the stuff. No, the joy actually comes from the giving side. You'll receive something somewhere, sometimes from somebody. You might even not know how it got there, but you might someday go like, oh, that's universal law, giving and receiving in action. The person I know from history, gotta step out of the dream again. The person I know best from history that showed this law to us most powerfully was a guy named L.G. Letourneau. Don't think you've ever heard of him, because if I had studied to be a marine instructor, I wouldn't know about him either. He invented earth moving machines and started a company. He was a really positive guy. He had posters up all over the company that had positive mind sayings on them, like, if your mind can conceive it, you can believe that you can achieve it. And he compensated them well. Everybody in town knew him down in Texas. When he died, they reported, and this is going to blow your mind, that he had given 90 cents of every dollar he made to charity. And yet he was still a millionaire. He still had millions of dollars. He just kept giving it away, and it kept coming in. Well, it's a powerful law. And I actually, when I was at New York Life, and who were the two people that raised their hands for the 2 books? Okay, you guys both get to take one of these things home. I had this rule when I was at New York Life that I wanted to use this universal law of giving and receiving and give every person I ever met with a gift. Could be a compliment, a newspaper article about them. What else did I do? A poem, like if you want to write a little ditty about them or whatever. Or I'd spent a little money, I bought some tchotchkes, I call them. And so these are 3 of the ones I had. I still have some around. A jar opener, you get to have that one. A chip clip, have that one under earth. And if anybody can guess what this is, you get it. Scraper. What kind of scraper? Bowls.
For ice on the windshield.
No. This is to save your fingernails, ladies. You know, you see that thing on the kitchen floor and you're like, oh, get that. I gotta get it. I have one of these in my kitchen. I use it all the time. It's the best. It just takes everything off the floor. But what was good about it is at New York Life, I won Agent of the Year. I was one of the top 6 agents in the company in 2 years of the 6 I was there. And that was because, I believe it was because I totally lived by these universal laws. I couldn't outgive God. I tried. I could not outgive God. So Maya's back in her room. She wakes up from her dream. The rooms are gone, but the clarity remained. Maya was going to up her vibration, shift her perspective. And, oh my gosh, just had a mind freeze. Shift her perspective and give everywhere she could find to give. Now, while I pass out, I want to give you each one of these. Can you pass these around to everyone? Here, I'll do it real quick. When you're passing that around, I want to share with you the most positive mental attitude quote that I have ever heard. The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It's more important than money, than circumstances, than what people will think or say or do. It's more important than appearances, skills, education. It can make or break a company, a church, a home. The remarkable thing is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we will embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play upon the one string we have, and that is our attitude. I'm convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. And so it is with you. We are in charge of our attitudes. Now, if everybody take your card, you get to take this home, and I'm challenging you to take these 3 laws, apply them to your business, put this on your desk someplace where you can see it, and read it once a day until you know it by heart, and then say it once a day. Let's do it. This is the business recalibration pledge, because that's kind of what the universal laws do. There's 12 of them. I have a book with all 12 in if you want to see it. But these 3 I have found to be the most impactful to my business. Let's go. I choose the vibration that matches the business I want. I remember that every challenge is relative and I am bigger than what I face. I give generously, I receive openly, and I allow abundance. This is the mindset that grows businesses. This is the mindset that grows leaders. I wish for you all the abundance of these 3 universal laws. May you be incredibly successful in 2026.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, a couple minutes for some Q&A. Who's got some questions that they would like to have answered by Judy?
What made you decide to start, making this your career path?
Three and 5 strokes. I mean, because they pushed me out of when I came back to work, they pushed me out of the company. I realized I started with New York Life. That's where I met Bob Proctor. He was a protege of Napoleon Hill. That's where I started getting curious about the universal laws because they both talk about it. And then I literally said to my husband, David, who's sitting right there one morning 5 years ago, somebody should write a book about this stuff and put them all together.
So why not be you?
So, and God said, why not you? Like, why are you thinking about this stuff if you're not going to do anything about it? And so it's been the most amazing journey of my life.
That's awesome.
Thanks for asking.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Absolutely.
Who else?
When you were with New York Life, did you practice the 12 laws?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. That's why I got all these tchotchkes.
Who else?
So you were already practicing them, but then after the stroke, heart attacks, more focused on?
Well, the strokes and the heart attacks were 10 years ago. And then I remember I was at New York Life for 6 years. So, and I wrote the book 5 years ago. So everything kind of moved. It just kept moving. And I, to this day, and then I added to my practice being an RTT therapist, which is how I've helped people with other things and found that to be incredibly impactful and I hate to say satisfying, but you know what I mean? Like, makes your heart reward. Thank you. I spell that word. Incredibly rewarding. So
I'm sorry, did you say RTT therapist?
RTT, it's rapid transformational therapy.
Okay.
It's 6 modalities. It's psychology, hypnotism, NLP, CBT, neuroplasticity, and neuroscience.
Okay.
And it generally works in 1 to 3 sessions for most issues for people except for drugs and PTSD. Or alcohol is a little slow too.
Wow.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you very much.
So as I get to you, and I'm gonna invite all of you to this, is in about a week or two, I'm gonna reach out to coordinate a time with a guy named Ben Gay the Third. Okay, Ben Gay the Third was Napoleon Hill's best friend when he was alive. This guy's still alive, actually. He's a good friend of mine. I'm pretty interested to have a chance to meet him.
Cool, thank
Okay.
you.
So one of the things about mindset, the thing I absolutely love about this handout is my challenge to you would be this: is take this and make copies of this, hang it up on your bathroom mirror, your refrigerator, sun visor, keep it in your hallway and for the next 30 days. And just trust me on this because I'm gonna share how that powerful this is. Every single time you walk by it, either say it out loud or to yourself. You're gonna average about 10 times a day. What's going to happen is you're going to start reprogramming your subconscious mind. Subconscious mind, once you program your subconscious mind, will control your actions. I had a client of mine, because we were talking about speed networking. And so I was at a speed networking event in 2014. A lady named Deborah Scarpa. I've been in business for 22 years, graphic design, web design person, over 3,000 satisfied clients. And you know you have satisfied clients. You know you're working with the right clients when you have your clients programmed in your cell phone and they call and you look at the phone and you got one of two reactions. That's going to go to voice.
Yeah.
Okay. Or you're like, well, I just said, hey, I'll call you right back. Right? It's really, there's no way to negotiate that. You either feel that or you don't. How many of you would like to have all your clients be like, oh my God, what's up?
Yeah.
Right? And so I asked her, I'm saying, how many of those? She goes, all 3,000. I go, okay, so what's the big deal? Like we're in a little 5-10 minute speed networking thing. And she tells me, she says, my income has been stuck here forever. I don't know how to grow. I've done everything impossible. I'm like, you got 3,000 clients over the last 22 years that you love and they love you. Yeah. And it dawned on me, this lady has a resistance to sales. Now, when you think of a salesperson, what do you normally think of? Is she?
Loud,
Loud?
energetic,
Energetic?
good relationships.
Anybody else? I've heard fast talker, slick, liar. I was in a seminar one time where they said scum. I'm like, oh my God, like, you've got some trauma, man. And but in our society, salespeople have a stigma, and none of us want to be even in the remote, even in the ballpark of being considered to be salespeople. And the challenge is it affects the way we do business. Now, here's the good news. It's not your fault. Because when we're all born, we are naturally born as salespeople. Okay, just try and tell a 2-year-old no. Okay, we all were 2 years old at one time. Okay, some of us got our butt spanked and we stopped saying, we stopped, when our mom told us no, we obeyed at that point. Okay, in my case, it was my mom. And then every now and then you got to test it, right? As a kid. But here's the point: is that's the world we grow up in. And so when it comes to business, and we realize the very first thing we have to do once marketing, I'm getting ready to introduce Chris here in a minute. Once marketing does a great job, we now have to convert them. And she was in a position where, from a mindset standpoint, she literally could not pick up the phone and call a client and ask them for a referral. I said, how many referrals are you getting on a regular basis? She goes, well, every now and then I get one a month. I'm like, how would you like to go into every single month, knowing exactly how many referrals you're going to get, what day they're going to come to you, and who from? Oh my God, that'd be a dream. But I could not give her the how-to without dealing with the mindset. And so the one thing I gave her was this. I want you to write down a new definition of sales, Deborah. And it goes like this. And if this is you, I want you to write this down. Selling equals service. Sell from honesty, integrity, and compassion. Selling is about leading. Selling is about moving people to action. So selling equals service, self from honesty, integrity, and compassion. Selling is about leading. Selling is about moving people to action. And so I told her, I said, hey, I want you to write this down on 3x5 cards. I want you to put it every single place that you spend time at, your refrigerator, your bathroom mirror, your downstairs mirror, your car. Over the next 30 days, I want you to, every single time you walk across that, I want you to read it out louder to yourself. She goes, that's all you got? I'm like, trust me. Just trust me. How many of you know a brain is the most powerful computer ever to be assembled? Okay. How many of you know the internet exists because of the human brain inventing the internet? Okay. AI actually exists because of what humans did out of their brain. Okay. And so fast forward 30 days later, she closes the large, it's on my LinkedIn. You can go see the quote. She closed the largest deal in her company's history. She comes to me, she says, well, their budget said, they said their budget's only 10 grand. Now, how many of us heard their budget's only this? How many of you bought into that? Okay, don't raise your hand. But I said, what do they actually need, Deborah? She goes, well, they need this. How much is that? 14,500. That's what you should go and talk to them about. But they're, I'm like, what are we even working on? I said, just go give it to them. They bought it. Oh my God, they bought it. Yeah, because you had the guts to go do it. Now, here's what happened is her mindset shifted. She only worked with me for 90 days. Her quote even says it. Our revenue grew 4.5 times in 90 days. And then I followed up with her a couple of years later. She literally went from $6,435 a month, not that I even remember, to literally, what was it, like $125,000 a month. Okay. Because of the mindset breakthrough shift. So what Judy was talking about today works. Anything that you want to do works. Well, go back and listen to episode 4 of my podcast where I interviewed Ben Gay III the last time. And like, you were Napoleon Hill's best friend. Oh yeah, he came to work with me for 2 years. I'm like, it's almost like sitting in front of grandpa going, what's missing? Come on. Yeah. And he goes, the ability to give yourself a clean slate every day. Okay. Write down an affirmation and read it out loud every single day. Don't drag yesterday into today. Okay. And so with that said, I want to shift gears here. Where'd my thing go? Next, we talked about the inner game, which has to do with mindset. Now if you struggle with sales, I forgot to close the loop on that. Do that exercise. It will change the way you look at selling. How many of you would like to be known as a salesperson like that versus a fast talking, slip liar kind of person? Okay. All right. Let's talk about the outer game. Okay. Our outer game has to do with systems. So when I met this guy, Anastasios Hionis, PDMs, solar engineer, he would go all over the world. He had this vision of going around the entire world and squeezing out more energy out of these solar farms. Not the panels on a roof, but going literally, these solar fields sometimes are 5-6 miles long. And banks were paying him an enormous amount of money to go in and squeeze out an additional 2%. And so 3 months into building the business, he comes to me and he says, hey, I have this big old 29-page business plan and it ain't working. So henceforth, I taught him a 1-page plan. Vision statement, mission statement, objectives, strategies, and action plans. Vision and mission are all mindset. I want you to imagine, for example, we're going to leave right here from 121 Tech Hub and we're going to New York State. Is that enough vision to tell you what our final destination is?
No.
It's a big state. Okay. But if I said, hey, we're going to go to New York City, New York, does that still tell you what our final stop is going to be?
It's too big.
Still too big, right? But what if I do this? What if I say, hey, we're going to Central Park in New York City, in the state of New York? Is that still enough information to tell you what our final destination? That's a big part.
It is, it's a big part.
Okay, but how many of you seen the first movie of John Wick? Okay, where you got that scene where the one lady, violated the rules, and they're underneath there by that fountain in Central Park in New York City. And now I can visualize exactly what my ultimate destination is a water fountain in Central Park underneath that walkway there where she ultimately got terminated. But that's the difference between a great vision statement versus just, hey, we want to make $1 million. Great. What do you want to do with it? What does that look like? So a true vision statement is, by this day, I want to achieve this. My company is going to achieve this. We're going to be at a geography there, regionally focused, statewide focused, national focused, international focused. We're going to provide these services. We're going to employ these kinds of people. It'll have your core values written in that vision statement. Sometimes it could be a paragraph, 2, maybe even a page long. Here's the most important thing with a vision statement. If it doesn't motivate you as the CEO, it's a waste of time. You got to be able to have it in such a way where it motivates you. You wake up in the morning. How many of you are just, you cannot wait to get up in the morning to go after your business? Okay, if that's not you, try this exercise. Okay. I had a business one time. I'm like, man, I remember it was the biggest nightmare on the planet. By the way, never build $1 million company and rest on your laurels and turn all the client relationships over to your business partner that doesn't own the majority of the company. Because he bailed with $600,000 in revenue in like one day, and that sent me into a 9-month nightmare. So you want a nightmare? Okay, get lazy, do business. Okay, but here's the point. Once you have that mission statement down, now we know what the destination is. Now, we identified water fountain, Central Park, New York. We knew exactly where we're going. Okay, how are we going to get there? What are some of the ways that we can get there?
Drive, fly,
Drive,
train.
fly, train. We can walk. We can take a bicycle. I have an electric. We have these cool little electric scooters that go 50 miles an hour or 50 miles. We just have to have a charge. Okay, but we'll get there. And so, how we're going to get there is that mission statement. And I've seen some of these mission statements like 1, 2, half a page. It's like, stop. You want to know what Disney's mission statement is? Make people happy. FedEx, the world, on time. Okay? Needs to be a 5 to 7 word statement. The reason it needs to be a 5-7 word statement is because it forces you to get clarity on what you actually do. And there's a whole Q&A list I'm going to send you that you can go through this process, that you really nail down your mission statement. But once you nail down that mission statement, that becomes your tagline. This is what we do when it comes to doing having any expense in your business. It doesn't support the mission statement. Here's my advice: don't do it. Okay. If somebody's not on the bus and all of you are going down the road, and they are not on board with your mission statement, you've hired the wrong person.
On the wrong bus.
They're on the wrong bus. They should probably get on somebody else's bus. But once you have that mission statement nailed down, decision making in your business becomes easy. So when I was building John Pyron, somebody gave me the term business doctor. Wish it would have been mine. But eliminating the frustrations of owning a business. That's the mission statement for that business. So it drives me. Every single time I help a business owner and I watch the frustration fall off their face, that is worth more than any dollar that I ever earned. Some of these people have been at it for 30 years and all of a sudden they fall back in love with their dream. It's incredible. So Make sure that your vision statement motivates you and it tells you exactly what you do. Kingdom Impact Consulting Group, help businesses achieve results faster. Or actually 10X Consulting Group, that was that vision statement. Kingdom Impact Consulting Group, impacting small business owners using God biblical principles. So you got to nail down exactly what it is that you do. Now we're going to get into objectives, and one of the ways to identify the objectives that I need to do for this year, I'm going to bring up our next speaker, but I'm going to teach you something Clark Brown taught me in 1992. Now I'm old, so see, 1980, that was a long time ago. We'll just leave it there. So I think I was in my 20s. Actually, yeah, and now I got my OCD kicking. Like 22, 23 years old. Gave me one of the best things that have served me in every single area of my life. It's not just about business. And so I got to keep in mind there on the screen there. So baseline strategy. Everybody in here has a baseline. It determines what you're going to measure. It can be health, it can be fitness, it could be your marriage, your relationship with your significant other, relationship with your kids, your finances. Pick the thing you want to measure, and that is the baseline you're going to measure. Now, let's just take, because we're talking about money, we're talking about business, talk about money. Take your top line revenue number for last year. Whatever that was, it is. Either you're excited about it or you're not. I would prefer you not to be excited about it, even though you might have knocked it out of the park. Okay. But once you have that number, now we need to figure out, okay, what else is included in that baseline? Okay? This is where you come in, because she's going to tell you exactly what was included in that baseline, what those line items were, what the revenue was, where did that, how much of that money came out? This line item, this line, this line, this line. And then the other part of it is, how many appointments did you run? How many new clients did you have? How many recurring clients? Once you have all your measurements down for your baseline, now the strategy is this. You're going to take, going into 2026, all the things that worked in 2025, you're going to drag them into 2026. And then you're going to do one of three things. Number one, you're going to add something to that baseline. We talked about the Michael Jordan example at the beginning. Not 2,500 things. One thing. Okay. In fact, I tell my clients 1 or 2 things per quarter. That is it. But what about this? Now, that's why we got a thing called a parking lot. Okay. Something I added beyond the analogy 1-page plan. We added a second page called the parking lot. Okay, that's where you get to put all the ideas that you're fantasizing about, that when you drove down the road this morning and you had the idea and you saw the squirrel cross the street and you took off. How many of the squirrels do we have in here? Okay, besides me? Okay, yeah. That's why I have Alicia, because she's like, no, we're not doing that. I'm like, you're absolutely right. Thanks for doing exactly what I told you to do, which is to tell me what to do and what not to do. You all should have an executive assistant, by the way, and she can help you find one. Next, we can subtract something. How many of you just keep, this is the year, man. If I know it's going to work this time. I just know for a fact. I've been trying to make this work for 3 years, and I just know 2026 is the year. Give it up, man. Take it off. Cut it. God has a principle called it. What did Jesus say? Jesus says, hey, I am the vine, you are the branches, my Father is the wine dresser. Okay. If it's not producing fruit, I'm cutting it off and throwing it away. Okay. If it is producing fruit, I'm going to do the next thing. I'm going to prune it and modify it so that way it produces even better fruit. And so that's the strategy. And today we're going to talk about several things to add to your baseline. And one of the first things, the most important thing, in my opinion, okay, and our bodies. We do not take care of our bodies, our health, our fitness. The Bible talks about it being the temple of God, okay, where the Holy Spirit resides. we do not take care of it, guess what? Not everything else that we're talking about here may or may not ever happen. And so I want to bring up Mike. And what I'm going to do something different is I'm going to have the previous speaker introduce the next speaker. So you get to read this for us, please.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Oh, great.
To introduce Mike.
Michael Wilson, an NSCA certified strength and conditioning specialist. Experienced small business owner with a demonstrated history of working with the sports industry. Strong entrepreneurship, professional skill in coaching, sales, football fundamentals, and event management. Welcome, Michael Wilson.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How we doing?
Great.
Good. There's always, whenever I publicly speak, it reminds me of Mondays when I was a college football coach, and I was a college football coach for 12 years. And Mondays during the season, we would always have our scouting reports. And for 7 of those 12 years, I was a defensive coordinator. So I was the guy in the front making the presentation, telling everybody what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses, what can we do well, what do we need to improve on for that. I loved your presentation, Judy. And I'm going to start off, actually, I'm going to go off of my script, and I'm going to say the 3 laws, how it applies to what we do.
Oh, good. We're sharing it.
Yes. And so you guys can think about this too, as you're running your businesses, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a manager, it doesn't matter. Vibration. For us, vibration is the thing. And Rita knows, because she's part of our gym. Okay. If I come in there with a bad attitude, our clients aren't going to want to work out. I got to be on when I come in, and it doesn't matter. And if I don't know if Rita remembers, but 3 weeks ago, I was having a bad morning, and I sat there in my car like 2 minutes before this workout was supposed to start, and I said, "Pull it together, coach. Pull it together. Don't worry about yourself. Be there for these ladies." And we went in and we had one of the best sessions that I've had in 3.5 years out of our location. The next one's relativity. When I first started, when we got our gym location here, there was a couple other places that were established, but also some places that started up about the same time that we did. Different budgets, different backgrounds. And I spent probably a year focusing on those places and how we could compete with them. And it took me a year of being stubborn and hitting my head up against this wall over here before I realized that there's a niche that we can have, that we can own, that nobody else can own. And so we had to be introspective on what we were doing with our business and figuring out what that niche was. And that's where we came up with the Supermall. The third one is giving and receiving. 2 times this year I've experienced this, just this year, this past year. One was we had a family that contacted us about an NIL opportunity where they would work out with us complimentary. And then in return, they would put our stuff on social media and they would promote us to families, friends, everything like that. So we agreed to it. I was all about it. And the young lady we work with right now, she has a softball coach or a softball pitching coach that's very well known in this area. And we worked with her for a week and a half, and her softball pitching coach was like, "Wow, I can already see some differences." And 2 weeks later, we had 3 new clients, softball pitchers. The other one was had a young man who's actually working out of our gym now with his own business, competing with our sports performance business, but he needed a home. He didn't have anywhere to go to take his athletes that he had. And so I thought about it, and he was actually in a men's group that I was in also. And I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? if we allow him to run his business out of here, we're probably going to get more out of that interaction and doing that and giving to his business and blessing his business. We're probably going to get more out of that than if we didn't do it. And now he works with his athletes. He doesn't want to work with adults. So guess who works with the adults? We do. It's because we gave him the opportunity to come in and work his business out of our business. So those are your three: vibration, relativity, and giving and receiving. Okay. When John was first talking, I loved how you set this up, John. The who, why, and what's in it for me. Okay, so who am I? My name's Mike Wilson. Everybody calls me Coach Mike. I've been coaching for 21 years at the college level, at the high school level, and now we work with middle school kids, elementary school kids. Also work with adults, been working with adults for about 12 years now. At the end of my college coaching career, I started working with adults privately on the side. And so we've been doing that. Why are we successful with what we do? We're successful with what we do because we're connection based and we're movement based. Okay. The first thing that we're talking about when we come in there with our adults or our athletes is establishing connection. Every single session, the first 10 to 15 minutes, we go through a warm up, but what they don't know is we're establishing connection with them. So within your business, it's how are you establishing connection with your employees and your clients? What are you doing for that? The other thing is that we're movement based. So we're just trying to get people moving better, whether it's adults, whether it's athletes, we're getting them moving better. In turn, they get faster. In turn, they get stronger. In turn, they get more confident. We're doing really simple things to move the needle for them. Now, before I was a coach, I was in sales, and John made some great points about sales. A lot of people have the wrong idea about sales. The picking up the phone part, it's easy for me. For 2 years, I had an inside sales job where I was contacting, it was an IT job, I was contacting decision makers, making probably 70 to 80 calls a day to build up my base. So for me, that's not a big deal. My second sales job was actually pulling doors and going into businesses all the way down. You see a strip mall, we're hitting every one of those doors and we're going there and we're trying to pitch these coupons, these little discount cards. And we're just trying to build rapport with that person in there and trying not to get kicked out and trying to just have that conversation go as long as we can. So the building rapport part is easy for me also. It's all about the reps. And when I tell anybody, whether it's our fitness stuff we're talking about, whether it's our athlete stuff we're talking about, whether it's business, it's all about the reps. So if you can get enough reps on the phone, door to door, you're going to be good at what you do. You just got to actually get the reps and get past whatever that block is for you. Let's see, what's in it for me? So what's in it for you? Listening to what I'm talking about right now, what you're going to get out of this. Okay. We're going to talk about, bottom line. Okay. What's your story? Okay. What's keeping you from achieving what you need to do with your fitness? B, I'm going to give you 4 things that we work with every one of our clients. And we talk about it with every one of our clients to lay the base to be healthier in 2026. So, does anybody know about the 4-minute mile? Does anybody know about the 4-minute mile? We know, yeah, a couple people know about 4-minute mile, okay? For you guys that don't know about the 4-minute mile, Roger Bannister was a runner, and back in 1954, he broke the barrier for the 4-minute mile. The 4-minute mile was something that they said was physiologically impossible. Nobody was ever going to go below 4 minutes. So he hits that in 1954. And then that next year, I think 30 to 50 other people go below 4-minute mile. Why was the 4-minute mile not done until 1954?
Nobody
Right,
really
I couldn't
believes
do it.
We probably be done.
Yeah, because there was a story behind it. There's a story behind it.
The heart will come out of the chest.
And everybody, yeah, exactly. And everybody had a story. I had a story, okay? 4 years ago, after I got divorced, I was 30 pounds overweight, and I hadn't really worked on my health, personal health, in 20 years. And I had a story. But what I found was I was able to lose 30 pounds by focusing on 4 different things. The first thing was breakfast, eating breakfast. So that's your first thing. The second thing was drinking water. And I hadn't really paid attention to drinking water. I pay attention to a lot now. I've got this little canister here. If you're trying to pay attention to your water consumption with this, probably not going to help you. If you pay attention to this, it's going to be better. This is a half gallon here. I recommend 96 ounces. A gallon is 128. Okay, so that's 64 right there. So if you can start with 96 ounces a day, starting now and working forward, you'll be in a great position. Exercise. The third thing is exercise. Exercise is something that everybody either doesn't have the time for or they don't feel like they have the money for in my industry. You only need to exercise 2 times a week to see results. And Rita can tell you, because she comes and sees us twice a week. 2 times a week is all you need. The same thing with our athletes. We only need 2 times a week to be a high performer. Once you get those 2 times a week down, then you start getting into the other habits, going for a walk, finding extra time, maybe buying a $10 gym membership and doing that. The fourth one is sleep. So for sleep, we recommend 7 to 8 hours an evening. 7 to 8 hours. With kids, 8 to 10 hours.
What? Right, get out of here.
Yep. Okay, and the best way to get more sleep, turn off your phone, turn off your TV at 8 p.m. and get her going. Yep. Be in bed by 9. We all stay up way too late and we wake up way too early. So those are my 4 things: breakfast, water, exercise, sleep. What questions y'all have?
Mike,
You were saying that Rita comes to your women's class. What is that?
Yeah. So we do, we have classes every day, 5:30 a.m., 6:30 a.m. She goes 6:30 a.m. And then we do 9 a.m., 10 a.m. mid-morning. And then we do one on the 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. hour.
What is it? Just
We come in and we do strength training.
strength training. Okay.
Yeah. So it's about 20 minutes of movement mobility warm up. And it's about 35 minutes of rotating around doing weights, kind of like circuit training, but we're working free weights also.
Do you also coach like football training or
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we do football specific
little-
training. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. A lot of it's with the little guys, just teaching them how to move better. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Samantha's worked with us too.
That's not on my radar. Sweet.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is when people start working with us, they start to feel better. And
Okay.
then all of a sudden they get motivated
Yeah.
to do those other
You
things.
can have Leanne. She's passed out at like 9 p.m.
Yeah.
I'm up at like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
So no.
That was the big thing I
there's,
found last year.
there's a book called 21 Ways to Sleep Smarter by
Never.
Sean Stevenson.
At the bar.
And I mean, just one of the hacks is no electronics an hour before bed. Okay. And
That's
no
not
eating or drinking except cold water. That's 7 to 8 hours of sleep. You see the highest performers on the planet. They average 7 to 8 hours of sleep. They're very, very important. Your body is extremely important. It all starts there. So thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, definitely.
You can take about a 5-minute break, grab some food. It's in those boxes there. Restrooms are upstairs. Okay. If you're a coffee drinker, help yourself to the Keurig. We'll be back here to start off with marketing. Once we do.
I think the several was not, yeah.
Stop, what's up? Sit. Oh, wait, hey, where's the camera? There you go. Okay, yeah, right there.
It's out of your way.
You may pull it. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna resume in about 4 minutes. Grab some food, grab some food. It's all the same.
Well, no.
Sam.
There's a variety, but it's
Yeah.
We're not, we're like, my grandfather, yeah. It's very comfortable. Right? He is now the array. But it was.
So what's for food?
Well, there, you can have a hospital.
That's where.
Yeah. How you been? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, man.
Yeah. No. Yeah, but Ryan, yeah. Right. It's all about getting it for the right people.
I was just joking. Like information out there.
Yeah.
Why I would ask.
It's all like mine.
How you been? We're gonna have to destroy this by the end. Yeah, you're on that. Hey, I was I joined New York Life in May. So I was with something called Bankers Life for okay, right now, okay, you're a trainer now. Yeah. And then I had trained someone that transferred New York Life, and she recruited me for almost a year.
Well, it's the best company. I had 9 clients, except for my own company, that's the best one for my company.
It's very, I feel like they use company, and I'm glad I started there, and I learned a lot and gained a lot of experience. But New York Life is kind of the mutual company aspect, the.
8 operating business. Like you could, what I did is I decided, because of my age, because I was already in my age, and I had all my service licenses, but I didn't want to collect money, so I partnered with somebody that if I got money, I'd say, you split it 50, you manage the money, but that's what my client. Right. And I concentrated on all the protection, the annuity, that, annuity, right, butter. And get it to WF.
Yeah, so I am trying to start working in the employee businesses, like, that's, no one else can offer me like that. No one. Very, and I feel like New York Life has products that first to death, right? Bankers Life was very much retirement. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Instead, like, Like, yeah, something you need to take right now. I've read it all better with coordinator and the other options.
Oh, yeah. It's supposed to be.
They don't. Yeah, they're like.
Oh, yeah.
Since it's even campaign. That doesn't help. And the service to green tea. Is it like mushroom tea or?
You. Michael.
Yes, ma'am.
Wait, how did that? I had this is one of my.
Oh, yeah.
Great name. Anyway, I read this article. And they were
So
talking
crazy
about
in Argentina, like
whatever,
very.
people are 70 should not worry so much about
All right,
exercise.
everybody got applause. Everybody back. Join in on the applause and let everybody else. Alright. Do an air horn. On your phone?
How are you? I'm Mike.
I'm brave.
Nice to meet you.
That's what you're doing. Okay. All right. Come back.
Oh.
Rock and rolling here. And we're gonna have Mike introduce our next speaker. So we talked about mindset, inner game, outer game. We talked about one important system, which is your health and fitness. And the key is to be consistent with that. That's the hardest part. How many of you know that it takes a tremendous amount of energy to light a fire pit? Tremendous amount of, you got to stack the wood, you got to, you know, if you don't like, I finally got lazy and I went and I discovered this. This is a secret. Like, how many of you don't like mosquitoes?
Oh,
Great.
eat mosquitoes.
Me neither.
Oh.
So we had this. So my wife and I tried the country one time for about a year. Okay, we're out there. We had a 7.5 acre thing and 25 miles to the nearest city. It was beautiful. Built a fire pit, got it all lit up, and I'm like, there's got to be a better way to do this. So I got this idea. I said, okay, the mosquito bug repellent, citronella, you know, the one in the green bottle. If you stack firewood and you pour that all over, you just gotta light it one time, man. It's a hack, and all the mosquitoes go away. It's incredible. But what happens if I don't add another log on that fire? Goes out. Same thing with your body. If you don't take care of it on a consistent basis, it will start having problems. Not gonna get the heat that you know the temperature had before. So let's we have Mike introduce our next speaker.
Yes, this is Chris. Precise. A marketing and creative strategy expert with 25 years of experience. He's launched 1,000 websites, crafted impactful branding and digital campaigns. And he helps businesses turn vision into results through strategic leadership and scalable solutions. Is it find your website and when you don't want one? Get one. Yeah, get one from Chris. Whatever. What's your tagline, bro?
People who don't like.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
That.
Yeah, making websites for people that don't want to make their websites.
Welcome. You have seen people's vision with those.
I don't know. All right. What we're gonna do today, we already got up and had our little break and everything. But we're gonna take a little journey. One of the best ways that I can explain what I do for my clients is I act as a guide. I go through all of the processes that I want them to go through. I go through software determinations. I go through the thinking process of strategy. I go through all of these things ahead of time and test out things before I ask my clients to do the same. So we're going to kind of walk through this process like we're going on a hike. So I'm your guide here. And what we're going to start with is, the reason why we're here today. The reason why we're here today is we want to make 2026 our best year ever. So what does that mean? Does anybody have a plan for how to make 2026 their best year ever?
That's why I came today.
That's why you came today. Okay. Okay. So, most businesses don't fail because they lack skill. They stall because their marketing feels heavy, confusing, and never ending. Who finds their marketing fun? Do we find your marketing fun? Do you enjoy doing it? Do you get to do kind of creative things with it and, have some fun and silly stuff sometimes? Or is it mostly just, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to go to this networking, I got to post this, I got to post that, I've got to come up with this strategy, I got to implement, I got to measure this ad, and all these kind of things. So growth doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing the right things consistently with the right people. So that's what we're going to talk about today, because today it's all about alignment. And how do we stay aligned? How do we show up? How do we grow? Who do we grow with? And how do we actually try to reach our goals? So everything we're covering today can be summed up into 3 letters: ACT, A-C-T. And I thought that was kind of applicable since we're starting out a new year. Nothing happens. You can never have the best year ever or any kind of year if you didn't act on something to make that happen. So what we're going to be talking about today, for time purposes, we're going to focus on 3 things. One is authenticity. The next is community. And the third one is target. So authenticity. I'm going to start with what authenticity is not. Authenticity is not oversharing. It is not perfection. It's not salesy, and it's definitely not hype. Authenticity is showing up in a way that feels natural, truthful, and sustainable. Authenticity starts with, and that's right, discovering your why. We're going to start with discovering your why, because your why comes from living out a purpose, or your purpose comes from living out the services that you offer to other people. So your why starts with how you serve others in a way that is authentic to you. I've used that I can't move forward. I've used this as kind of my crutch a lot of times. So I will spend hours contemplating my purpose and my why. Sitting in front of a computer, reviewing things that I've written down, notes and things like that. And I use that as a procrastination tool because, I feel like it's productive because I'm working on my why. But one of the things that I realized is you really can't work on your why unless you get out in the field and practice your why. So if that sounds like something that you would be doing, there's a lot of books that tell you how to figure out your why. Simon Sinek did a YouTube or a TED talk that kind of zeroed in on determining your why or how to find your why. And if you read his other book, he's got one on your why and another one on how to find your why. He has like a whole crew trying to work together like 3 or 4 days on what your why statement should be. And for an entrepreneur, that seems a bit overwhelming. So one of the best ways to figure out your why is to just get out and everything you start with is a best guess. So take the services that you offer, take the feelings that you have about what you're doing, and go service your clients and figure out your why as you go along. A big part of authenticity is following through. So doing what you say you're going to do and how you're going to do it. Simply making your yes, yes, and your no, no. And anything else is a contradictory of your purpose. I call this fanatical customer service. Because if you will do this one thing, make your yes, yes, and your no, no, you will have outdone 90% of your competition. Fanatical in this way may sound like a no-brainer, but doing this will make you stand out. All right. If you still like you have the problem with with finding your why and things like that, what I recommend you do is make what's called a dream list. It's a dream 100 list. What a dream 100 list is you take your products and services and you go find the people that are the influencers and the capital people that deal with the same client that you have, and you basically see how their voice is, see what they're talking about, see who they're attracting as followers, connect with some of their followers, have discussions with them, and try to get communication with those dream 100s. And you can start with kind of a 7 degrees of separation with that, and get to a level where you're actually able to talk to somebody that will introduce you to the next level, and then once you are able to talk to those dream 100 people. So authenticity is about sharing, not selling. It's about telling your story. Your story builds trust, credibility, and realness. Authenticity is personal. People don't connect with products, they connect with people. Authenticity is consistency. Every skill gets better with the daily practice of the mundane. Highlighting the excellence highlights that excellence isn't about extraordinary feats, but consistent, small, often boring daily efforts, building habits and subtle improvements that compound over time. So how do you show up authentically? This could take several different forms. You have to choose one that kind of best fits your nature and what makes you feel most comfortable. So it could be as a guide. It could be as a coach. It could be as a teacher. It could be as a technician. It could be as a facilitator or even an entertainer. And there's a number of other ways, but just finding that role that allows you to be yourself, but still connect with those people that you're trying to connect with from an audience level. Those are your prospects. And from a client level, people that you want to be your advocates. So pretending to be someone you're not is going to create friction, and it's going to be burnout. So does the way I market actually feel like me, or does it feel forced? When authenticity is off, marketing feels awkward. So when community is missing, marketing feels heavy. So now we're going to talk about collaboration and community. I'm doing everything myself. Marketing feels heavy and overwhelming. There's not enough time in the day to do everything I'm supposed to do and take care of my clients. None of these are marketing problems. They're isolation problems. Does it sound familiar? The fastest way to grow in a noisy market isn't louder marketing, it's shared momentum. So we're going to do a little practice right now. I brought some of these cards, and we're going to just pretend like these represent some of our posts that we do in our social media, in our blog posts, and things like that. So when we're out there posting, what are we doing with these things? When we write an article, what are we doing with it? What are you doing with your articles when you post them? Do you post them? Who are you posting them with? Who do you write an article? Walk me through it. You write an article. Who writes articles? Who writes blog posts? Who puts out posts on social media? When you post something on social media, what are you doing with it after you do it?
What do you mean? Engage with the people that are.
What do you do with it?
Yeah, trying to engage with people.
Okay, so that's kind of an after effect. So you post it out there, and you're just waiting for somebody to like, share, comment on it and things like that, right?
It depends on the post. I mean, sometimes depending on the post, then I'll share it to more, places for more, traffic, exposure on it.
So more places like what?
Other groups, other, people that I think that might be interested in it,
Okay,
other platforms.
okay.
Yeah.
Now, what if you took those posts and on a consistent basis, hand it back to me. Nope, this is how we're gonna do this.
Okay.
So he wrote it, I've got it, he sent it to me. Now I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna say, Carolyn, will you post all these on your social media for me? And then she's gonna post them, and I'll say, will you post them on all your social media? Will you post them on all your social media? Will you post them on all your social media? This is how you build a community, but the only way to do that is we have formalized strategy for how we're going to share, because then it gets chaotic. If I'm just passing like what I just did, it's kind of chaotic. So we build a system around that, and anybody can do this. What you do is you find strategic partners. We've talked about strategic partners before too. That's what makes up your community. So how do you find a strategic partner? How do you find a strategic partner?
Networking,
So many
connections.
verticals.
Networking, verticals, that Dream 100, clients, even some competition. There's some competition that I only want to work with this segment. I don't care about this segment over here. So you take that segment, I'll take this segment, and then when we get those others, I'll pass them to you, you pass them to me. So what if you took these articles or these posts and we combine them into a blog post or a podcast or a long form email newsletter? All of these kind of things can then be repurposed to build on your content marketing. But did you have to write all this content? No. You take 20 people and they write 5 articles. How many articles is that? It's 100. So then I'd rather have 20 articles that really mean something to somebody and be able to really digest that information than I'm trying to come up with 100 different ideas all the time so I can constantly have some sort of content out there. What else does it do? When I'm sharing posts from you and you and you, and you're sharing posts to me, does Google like that kind of sort of thing? It does. So that's one of the reasons why building community is so important. So what if we got to a level that I'm working with this whole table and we say, if we all contributed $10 a month, we could hire somebody over here to help write our articles for us. Or we could buy this equipment over here to do our podcasts. Or we could register at a table at a network or at a trade show and have a presence at a national trade show that normally costs us each $5,000. Now it's only costing us 100, 200. And then we have representatives. So a lot of the reasons why community is not being utilized in its full capacity. So if we were to take our marketing for 2026 and move it into a community arrangement and set up our marketing through strategic partnerships, we could do a quarter of the work and get 1,000% more value. And this is not a system that's a proprietary system or anything like that. It's basically just utilizing your strategic partners, having a hub. It helps to have a hub. So having a website, a social media page, a group, something, but keeping it organized and keeping it active. If you just expect everybody to post on to do what they're supposed to do, they don't. They don't. But if you set up a reminder, daily reminder, weekly reminder, monthly reminder, whatever it takes to get that activity, then it makes it a lot easier. So what you're trying to do there is you're lowering the barrier to entry to have activity going on those pages. So that's the importance. That's why, you've got authenticity on this side, you've got the community on this side, and the third component is, of course, target. Target is the clients, your target clients. So when we start talking about our clients, that's how we form our strategic partnerships, because we're going to have an alignment with people a lot more to do this purpose if our strategic partners all serve the same client. So a lot of the things that we talk about is niche marketing. And when you say niche marketing, a lot of people start saying, well, I don't want to limit myself to just that particular client, or I don't want to, I can help I can help many different people. So why would I want to just sell to moms or, moms in Lenore City even? Because, I can help anybody. But the problem with helping everybody is you help nobody. But if I focus all my tools, if I focus all my experience, and I focus all my energy on that one group, a niche builds clarity. So having a clear focus makes it easier for me to help that person. But what's going to happen is they're going to have a success story that will help everyone. So niches are not limiting. Niches are specific to a particular problem, a specific stage in a client's journey or life, a specific decision making. So not limiting, it's just focus. Ask yourself, would this ideal client hear my message and think this is for me? So we're going to do a little practice here. And we're going to take this formula that I've got down called I help who solve what problem and for what outcome. And I wrote down an example there for you, which was, I'm Chris Tresice. I help B2B professionals get more leads and referrals through a complete done for you website growth system so they can focus on serving their clients and new opportunities don't get lost or forgotten. So if you'll take that little short formula and apply it and then try it out in your networking groups. Your networking groups are great test labs for anything you're doing in marketing, because you're going to get direct feedback from that person looking at you that you won't get from just posting a social media post. So I have one other thing that I'll give you, and you can take this and apply it if you want. This is, I'll call this a bonus. Write yourself a letter, date it for 365 days from now. Write a letter of gratitude to yourself for all the things you did this year to help you reach your goals. But then also write one apologizing for all the things you didn't do. All the things you didn't do that helped you fail.
You're cool.
Around plus. So questions, Chris?
I love that you gave us exercises to do. I like that. Thank you for providing that.
It's fascinating. I love those cards. Did you
I did too.
design them?
No,
All right.
they're community cards.
Yeah. I have a comment, something to add on to what you're talking about. If you can zero in and figure out what that niche is, just like we did with super moms, it makes your marketing message way easier to do, and it makes it way easier to run through stuff like Chat GPT and stuff like that, because you're saying specifically this is who we're talking to, and Chat GPT and all that stuff is going through the whole internet and figuring out how women, moms ages 35 to 54 are being spoken to and then writing into our copy.
And when you have your niche down and your marketing is working, people in your niche should say, holy cow, how is she inside my head? Like, she knows exactly what I'm thinking and feeling. That's when it works.
Yeah.
All right, this question, go ahead.
Do you ever run into people, the companies, like a corporate setting where they're very rigorous in what's allowed to be published?
Example.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like for example, me. Like they pretty much have to pre-write everything.
You're talking about financial planning. and
Yeah.
all that. Yeah, I have a financial, what you have to do is there's compliance. So you can
Right.
pre-comply a lot of the things. But if you'll look at what's pre-comply, I guess that's a way. If you get compliance to go ahead and approve a variety of things for you, then that's one thing. But it's not necessarily industry specific information that people are looking for.
Okay.
Especially if you're working with the same client, your clients are going to have other things in their life besides their finances that they're interested in doing things with.
Right.
You're not limited to giving tips on a particular app that you found helpful for measuring financial somethings, or their particular loans, or your opinion on the 50-year mortgage, or things like that aren't compliance. You're not selling them something. You're not telling them to have a 401k of this particular value, or you're not giving them advice. You're basically just sharing content. And when it comes from other people, it could be, again, you're going to have more strategic partnerships. So all of you are going to be sharing different things that some of it's already going to, it's going to apply to the same thing. But it's all about life. Nobody wants to see a daily post on financial planning.
I agree.
So, but they may want to see a recipe, or I've got a client that he posts pictures of his work on Jeeps. He's a Jeep guy now. So he's got a following for Jeeps.
Do you also work with small businesses?
I work with startups. I've designed logos. I've sat there and gone through a daily plan of go do this. If you need a website, let's just get you a landing page and then we'll build onto it from there.
You also go into someone's already made website and revise it.
I will remake it because I have a particular system I will put all my websites under that makes it easy for me to manage.
Right. Okay.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, buddy. We're beyond the halfway point. We got our vision statement, mission statement, objectives. So far, objectives. You do objectives on a one-page plan is this. Make a list. Once you nail down exactly the life you want to have a year, go back and make sure that your business is going to produce the profit that it needs to get there. And you may have a list of, like, when I do this exercise, usually takes me about every week. I will have 2 or 3 pages of things I want to get done in my business this year. But then again, it has to fit on one page. So the one-page plan rule is no more than 9 objectives. Objectives should be big, massive, gigantic goals. If you hit the objective in one month, it's not an objective.
Yeah.
So it needs to be something that's going to stretch you. It's like my client told me during their annual planning session, hey, I want to hit this number. I go, that goal's too small. Yeah, but that's realistic. I go, exactly. Yeah. So we actually doubled it. He's a lot more fired up now. A whole lot more fired up. Even if he doesn't hit the goal, now I'll give you a secret about hitting the goal. Get the book called The Gap in the Game. It's by Dan Sullivan, read by Benjamin Hardy. Get the audio prep definitely, because he interviews Dan Sullivan after each chapter. But the one difference is we're all taught in this country A, B, C, D, F. Okay, from the time we enter school, it's either satisfactory or unsatisfactory or no mark. And then all of a sudden you get to high school and it's A, B, C, D, F. right? And so my report card when I dropped out of high school read F, 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 D minus, F, F, and I think another F. Okay, so I was proud of that. I mean, a straight F student. I was almost there. You know, that's a joke by the way. But the point is this: we're taught in societies like, here's what I said I wanted. Here's the goal that I'm after. Here's my starting point. I didn't make it. I'm a failure. Oh my God. You know, there's even a book called Failing Forward. Okay. Yeah. Now, the true definition of failure is when you quit. But what Dan Sullivan did is he flipped it on its head and says, okay, he studied the most successful entrepreneurs of all time, even the ones that are alive today. And one of the things he noticed is not a single one of them ever hit their goal in the time frame they set it. Now let that sink in real quick. Not a single one of them focuses on hitting the goal in the time frame they set it. The reason is there's the starting point when they set that goal. They work. By the time they get to here, they have grown so much because their true value of a goal is the person you become in the process. And what happens once they get close to the goal expands. And so they get there, but it's always expanding. So one of the secrets to one-page plan is once a year, your objectives. This week, next week, get your objectives nailed down. Once you nail them down, do not change them. The next time you get to actually change them is the first week or second week of July. All of my clients, this is what I was taught from very early on. I never change that target, ever. You never give up on a goal until it's given up on you. It's the person you're going to become in the pursuit of that goal. You see it all the time in sports. We saw it this last week. They knew they were going to lose, and you see the whole energy in the team go like this. That's just bad coaching. They should have went after it like like a miracle could have happened in the last 2 minutes. So that's the key to hitting objectives. So one of your objectives is nailing down that marketing. If you don't have a marketing plan, I'm going to give you something to add to your objectives. How many of you have a referral system in place? Okay. Now, let me ask the question a different way. How many of you know when you went into January, how many referrals you're going to get, what day they're coming to you, and who from? Now, based off that definition, how many of you have a referral system in place? Great. So every single one of you are going to have a referral system in place when you leave here. This is Jackson Sands Engineering. Sean Jackson, Frank Sand. Now keep in mind, I'm going to repeat this again just to land it. They are civil pocket protecting engineers. Okay? They are not salespeople. Okay? According to the normal definition of a salesperson. Okay? They came to me and they go, you'll get a kick out of this. Hey, we've been in business for 6 months. We've already paid $30,000. Should we have a business checking account? And so I'm like, do we need a business license? Yeah. So fast forward, COVID hits. And the two systems I'm going to teach you right now, thank God they learned these two systems. COVID hits. What happened when COVID hit? Everything shut down. They are a civil engineering firm. They design homes. What happened to the construction industry when COVID hit? Robbed. Their business increased 28% on average. 2020, 2021, 2022. How do they do it? Referral systems. And one of the first things they did, and this is where person of influence comes in, everybody has a network that they have influence with. But not everyone's a POI for you. A POI has somebody has a high percentage of your target market inside their network. And you want to develop a relationship with them. It's like this ecosystem mastermind group that we started on Monday. That is that's a strategy using POI. So POI, step by step. And Alicia is going to make sure, like my assistant went to town on this, wrote a 63-page ebook off of a talk I did on POI. This right here 1998, when I started using this, Jedi mastered it literally like Yoda by the time 2001 came around. Built $3 million companies back to back. I spent no money on marketing at all. Okay. And POI relate, decide on the strategy. One of the strategies we're using right now is this ecosystem partnership. So here's how you do it. How do you get started with POI? How many of you have customers that you actually like? Okay, great. First place to start, go to your customer, whether they're B2C, B2B. They're paying money to someone. If you are in business, one of the lowest hanging fruits to develop your own POI network is every single business. What is the one thing that is common with every single business owner? It should be in common, let's put it this way. They all have business insurance. Okay? I'm going to call up my customer. I'm going to say, hey, Mary, John Pyron, what's up, John? What's happening? Hey, I'm doing great. Hey, I'm looking for a great business insurance person that I can refer my clients to. Do you like your business insurance person? Yes, I do. Would you refer them to your most valuable family member? Yes, I would. Would you mind if I contacted them and tell them that you refer me? Absolutely. Here's their cell number. Here's their email, that sort of thing. Keep in mind, it's a red flag if they don't want to give you that information because I'm not asking them for a referral to go sell them something. I'm asking them who their business insurance person is because it can become a potential business insurance person for me. Now, I'm only going to use one example and you can put the rest on steroids. You need 4 POIs. The reason you need 4 POIs, and I love it, love it, love it, love it when I landed here in Knoxville, because one of the things I discovered when I landed here, and at first it was very frustrating, everybody and their grandmother wants to have lunch. Hey, let's get together for lunch. Okay, I just met you. Yeah, but let's get together for lunch. I don't even know if I like you. That's what's going through my head. And way different on the West Coast. Okay. And I remember Mike Messer telling me, he's like, if you don't do that, it ain't going to work here. Yeah, it actually will work here. Okay. So I give the insurance person a call. I call him up and I said, hey, Joe, this is John Pyron. You and I don't know one another. Now we're recording this. I'm going to send you the word for word transcript. Okay. You and I don't know one another. But Mary is a client of mine, and Mary's a client of yours. Mary tells me she wants to adopt you. You'll laugh, because one of the secrets to instant trust and rapport is get somebody to laugh. Okay, somebody real quick ask me how I'm doing.
How you
How you doing?
Man, if I was any better, it would actually be illegal. It's not good. Okay, it always gets a laugh. Okay, no matter who I'm talking to, it gets a laugh. I'm an immediate trust and rapport. I saved myself probably 15 minutes just doing that alone. You and I don't know one another. She tells me she wants to adopt you. I just had to meet you because I got to thinking, she's a client of mine. He's, client of yours. You and I probably got other clients that we can share back and forth. Challenge is I don't know you and you don't know me. What I love to do is buy you a cup of coffee. This week or next week, get a chance to know you and see if it makes sense for us to refer business back and forth. Do you have time this week or next week for a cup of coffee? I'm buying. Keyword, I'm buying. Absolutely, let's get together. We get together. Alicia's when she sends you all the training on POI, it's step by step. You follow it step by step. It works 100% of the time. I can say that with confidence because I have over 1,085 businesses I've taught it to, and over 1,000 of them have implemented it. And I personally have implemented it. And every single time I implement it with a client right now, guess what? It works. Okay. The reason I want 4, why do I want 4? This is where coming back to Knoxville reminded me of the importance of relationship. When I sit down with them and I nail down and we decide we're going to sing Kumbaya and we like each other and so forth. We're going to meet once a month. I like Friday, 3:30 p.m. to be exact. It used to be Friday, 3:30 p.m. Cyber Java Cafe, Madison and 80. I used to joke around when I would speak and say, if you want to serve me court paperwork, that's where I'll be. Because I'm meeting with a POI that day. We're sitting down, we're having a cup of coffee or lunch or whatever. It's got to be somebody that I want to go and hang out with outside of business. Otherwise, why? Life's too short, man. Okay. And not everybody's going to like me, and I'm not going to like everybody else. So once I nail that down, let's see, Sheldon Sanford, Dave Krimmel, Mike Maskowski, or John Maskowski, and Jeff Stewart. Those 4 guys for over 10 years. That's the only marketing I did. That's it. I had a website, sure. But I'm a service-based business, and I met with those 4 guys, and we referred millions and millions and millions of dollars. Now, if you want to put it on steroids, go to LinkedIn, hit their LinkedIn profile before you go meet with them. Pick out 10 people that you really like, that they're connected to, that you're not connected to. Take that list with you. Because all Jim Cuniers and I would do is sit there and have coffee and chit chat. We haven't talked in a month. How'd it go, man? What was the biggest wins last month? What's it? How's the wife? How's the kids? Sports, whatever. We didn't talk about business. And then 5 minutes before we left, here's my list. Here's your list. Who do you know on here? I know this person, this person, this person. But I didn't know you were going after those people. Hold on. Okay, you need to add this. Every single month, like clockwork, I would walk away from that meeting with 5 to 7 referrals. Not leads, referrals. Not, I think they're going to be interested in your services. Let me do an intro. Now, if you really want to put it on steroids, this is something we've learned over the last couple of years that works 100%. Do the work for them.
Right.
Here's 5 to 7 referrals. Tell you what, I'm going to have, well, now I get to do this. I'm going to have Alicia. She'll figure it out. She can have Gene do it. Whoever do it. I'm going to have Alicia create an introduction to each one of these people. All you got to do is copy and paste it and send it. Can you do that for me? Yes. Now, what I have discovered, 96% of the time they take my call. When I take their call, 94.3%, I get a meeting with them. Out of that, literally over 92% convert, become clients. Okay, that's the value of a referral. And so Alicia's going to make sure you get all that information. But this system right here will change your business life. We talked about, so visit LinkedIn. Oh, Jean really went to town. I didn't even know the slide was here. She just inserted this. Okay, cool. Visit LinkedIn, sure. Yeah, top 10 profile. Schedule a reoccurring meeting. Bring referral form and top list. If you do this consistently, I promise you this. And if it doesn't, you have my permission. I will give you a solid hour strategy session. If you actually go out and implement this and it does not work, I will give it to you for free instead of charging you what do I charge now? $750 for an hour strategy session?
Yeah.
I'll give it to you for free. Okay. If you can honestly look me in the eye and say you did this and it didn't work for you, we're never going to meet because, you'll do it and you'll just be too busy with new clients. Okay. So, which leads into this. The very first person I connected with was a guy named Cliff who was running an organization called M&O. We met back in April. He said, you got to come to this M&O thing. We're in Knoxville. I'm like, I'm not there. Oh, no kidding. We meet online. So all of a sudden I show up to this meeting one day and there's this gal named Alicia Turner. Okay. And she's online and we're talking and she tells me what she does. I'm like, there's my POI right there. Man, I haven't even landed in Knoxville yet. So I give her a call. Hey, you and I are going after the same client. I'd love to buy you a cup of coffee, but I ain't going to be there for a while. Let's have a virtual coffee. Okay? So we have a meeting on Zoom. We start connecting. We start developing this relationship. I discovered expectations over here because of her. Okay? It's the very first place I went to when I got here. All of a sudden, I get to know her. All of a sudden, I find out it does not, we are going after the exact same client. Okay. And then I told her I was looking for an executive assistant and she kept pounding me. You need to hire me. You need to hire my company. Like the one thing I appreciate about you and your company, she followed up. Now I'm going to let that land there for a minute. There are some of you have clients you've been after for years and you followed up 3 or 4 times. And you have the attitude that most people have is, well, when they're interested, they'll call me. Right? How many of you believe in your products and services? How many of you absolutely in your heart of hearts know if somebody becomes your client, their life is going to be impacted? Okay. Before I introduce, I'm going to show this really quick. Imagine yourself walking. Well, this is cool because in Tennessee, you got this. You're walking along this trail and you're having a stroll of the day, right? And you come up on somebody's hanging off of a cliff. You're like, see them, man. They're sitting there with one arm, like, they're hanging off, and there's like 3,000 feet down, and they're going to die. And you walk up and go, hey man, let me help you. No, my buddy went back. He's going to call the cops. The rescue team's going. Hey, man, I see you're slipping. Help. Hey, come here. You know? And are you going to let him fall? No. You're going to go and grab his butt and pull him out. Okay? And so when you feel that way about your products or services, you're not being pushy by telling somebody about it. Okay? And her and I connected with a couple of clients where they're literally going to go out of business if they don't listen to us. And one of the powers of a POI is able to bring her in. And I watched her, man. Like, she had this candid conversation with this business owner. The lady was in tears because she realized, yeah, we can either fire this person or take all this stuff off. Like, an incredible talent, because at the end of the day, you can implement all the referral systems, all the marketing and everything, and still not be a business owner. Now, some of you are going, what the heck is he talking about? Because I am a business owner. Until you have an employee and you have covered a payroll, you don't know what being a business owner is all about. You just have created a job for yourself that you don't have to go back and work for somebody with. Okay? But the next step, if you really want to get your freedom, Kiriko Media, 22 years in business, goes from North American Fence and Railing. Average employees, 15 years there. She wanted to go away for an entire month. She couldn't because the business owned her. It was because of the employees that we got hired there, and Alicia Turner is going to share with us how to do that. So, who was the last speaker? Chris.
Alicia Turner, staffing and hiring strategy. Most companies across the U.S. secure the right talent at every level, from entry level to executives, to ensure every hire is the perfect fit for both company and candidate, using a strategy, relationship-driven approach that delivers results, strengthens teams, and frees business owners to focus on what matters most.
Okay. So that actually doesn't also include that we provide executive assistant services and event management services. So quick story about me and John. We did meet through networking, and when we finally got to Tennessee, we did have a lunch meeting. And he came in, and just because I know him, what I did know about him so far, he was running just a few minutes late. He was a little bit frazzled. I was like, what's going on? What's wrong? And at that time, he was like, I need a Pepper Potts. Have you ever seen Iron Man? And he was telling me all this that he needs. And I was like, hi, I'm going to be your Pepper Potts. So I am also serving as John's partner, but executive assistant as well. So we're going to try to do as best we can to keep him in his lane and keep his schedule. So, all right. My team, just a little bit about me. I've been in recruiting for 14 years. I started my business, actually March would be 4 years ago. So I had basically worked myself out of a job, and all of you that are saying all the things, I connect with that because I did work for someone else that was not that person that I should be working for. He was a walking lawsuit. My job was to keep him from not getting sued. So also we had really bad morale. We had really high turnover. For 5.5 years, my job was to staff his entire company, front of house, back of house, everything in between. After 5.5 years, I phased myself out of a job, and I overheard a conversation. What do we do with her now? So I was like, I don't ever want anyone to have to feel like you have to place me or put me somewhere. I looked at what I've been doing for 14 years and what I love so much, and that's connecting people, opening doors for people that maybe didn't know that could be open. That's both on the side of clients and businesses and for candidates. So I like to build relationships. Also, I've served as an executive assistant also for 14 years. So I was like, I could do all this and create turnover recruiting and consulting, stamp my name on it, because that's really important that what we do it the right way. So we're helping good people and find good people. So who in here has been in the seat of hiring someone at some point? So it kind of sucks, right? Like it's not for everyone. It's not for very easy. Why does it always feel so hard? A lot of times, so you can just walk in any business, including any restaurant right now, and you're going to see a hiring sign. Please call this, please text this, right? Everybody's hiring. But what's failing? Is it the candidates? Maybe, but it's not their fault. It's probably the process. So, I gotta use this. All right, so hiring out of urgency instead of clarity. A lot of times you see people just immediately like hire. So yeah, right now. Start today. Do you have eyeballs? Do you have a pulse? Yes. So you're coming across as desperate, and when you come across as desperate, you're hiring incorrectly and you're hiring desperately, and it's showing that you're desperate. You're going to get the person in there who literally just does have the pulse. Unclear expectations from the start. When you start changing the role itself, you start changing, the dynamics of the role, the pay of the role. Well, first it was this, and now it's this. You're also creating a structure that's not very credible for yourself. They don't know how to trust you. They don't know what to look for in you as an employer. Avoiding hard conversations for too long. So one thing I like to say, and one thing I've taught my team, is we like to have what we call the good, the bad, and the ugly conversations with candidates up front, so that there are no surprises. That person that gets in front of you, there shouldn't be questions at that point from either side. Once that person gets in front of you, they should know most, if not everything, that they can know about that job and that position. It is not fair to the candidate to get in front of you and them not know what a day-to-day looks like, what a pay structure looks like. That's not fair to them. This is also their livelihood. Okay, this is going to be a place that they're choosing to spend most of the hours of their day away from their family, away from their home. And I say choosing because think of this as dating. This is not, you are not the only person they're applying to. They're looking at other options. They're considering other options. You're not the only person on the table. Staff problems usually do start with process issues and not necessarily the candidates. It's not the candidate's fault. They were hired for a position that is not right for them. It's your fault. And I'm just going to be honest about that. Not every person is the right fit for every position, and not every position is the right fit for every candidate. So how many of you have hired in here emotionally and you thought, well, that person is just as great and amazing, and I need someone so quickly and I need them right now. And then a week later, you're like, that was a bad decision. I regret my decisions. So, real cost of a bad hire. So, you all have not formally been introduced with each other, but Crystal with Kim Dry is one of my clients. You've hired bad hires before, right? Yeah. Okay. I hate to put you on the spot, but what happened when you hired someone that was not a good fit for your company?
Maybe halfway through. This is bad. They started off great. Then it was bad.
Bad.
That's why we lost a lot of customers.
Yeah. You lost a lot of customers?
Yeah.
That's bad because we're nothing if we're not a reputation in this town, right? Half of you I already knew from networking and we know each other. And then when John got here, I was like, oh, I know this person, I know this person, I know this person. So we are nothing if we're not a reputation, right? Leanne, what happened when you hired bad?
Oh.
Against my better judgment. We start that.
Or was a train wreck. That was the time I didn't stay in my own lane.
She did not stay in her lane.
I did not.
Okay. So I will never tell you yes or no to hire someone, but what I will do is give you my advice. What I see, and I look for things in people that maybe people are telling you things all the time without actually telling you something. So they're telling you in their body language and things that they're not answering, things that they're circling around. There was a candidate that she had hired. I had very strongly told her, I don't know about this person. Personality-wise, I already don't think it's going to be a good match for you. Not everyone loved Leanne can work for Leanne because not everyone is a good fit for Leanne's company. So that's true for all of us, right? She hired this person. She ended up being a terrible hire. And a couple months later, 6 months? Less than?
No, way less than.
Yeah. So the cost of a bad hire can be extremely costly. I've heard from John that he's lost multiple clients because of that hire, right?
Many clients in over the 27 years.
Yeah.
Every time I have to learn a lesson hard.
Yeah.
Which is why I hired you.
Thank you. I am not above that. I have also made a bad hire. And it was more like personality wise, we fit, skill set, we fit. But then when we got into actually having the job, which the job I think was sales, if you can do sales, you can do sales for anything. It doesn't matter what you're selling, whether it's, ice to an Eskimo or pins. You should be able to do the same thing. The problem is that she couldn't do the sales, and she couldn't do the sales, no matter how much training or how much anything. But what that started to do is taint my reputation. And again, we're nothing if we're not a reputation. So if you think it's expensive to hire a professional to do the job, wait till you've hired an amateur and then you're yeah. Right? I think we've all been there, done that. So again, I'm not above this because the one person that I hired, that was not a good fit at all. We started very quickly seeing that, but she was also the person that was like, would look for anything that you said, was looking for that one thing that if you misspoke, you knew that it was going to be held against you. So I knew that. So I watched everything I said. So before you interview, you want to get clear. What problem is your role going to solve? What does that success look like in 90 days for you? You want to have mapped out in your head what this person is going to look like for you based on 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, where you would like to see this person. What must this person be really good at? Again, we're going to look at skill set. Here's one thing I want you to keep in mind, though. Character cannot be taught. Character is natural. We all have our own character. What does that look like for us? Skill set can be trained. So I love it when I have the luxury of hiring for someone based on their character alone, because skill set can be trained. Now, if they have to have the skill set, obviously they have to have character to go with it. What cannot be trained? Well, character cannot be trained. So interview in the right way. I am in the business of not wasting our time. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. I want to waste as little time as possible. So we want to start with a phone interview. We do a Zoom call. And John has really introduced me to Fathom. If you're not, using that, you should. I love Fathom. So it tracks your calls, puts your notes and, action items in a list for you. It's amazing. But it saves you from having this person come to your office and spend the day there, spending hours with them. You can just as easily find out within 5 minutes if this is a person that you want to move forward with or not. Very quickly. Honestly, within probably the first 30 seconds. Listen for patterns and accountability. So I'm looking for patterns when I talk to candidates. I'm looking for very specific patterns. I'm looking for why did they leave their most recent job? Why did they leave the job before that? We're looking for common denominators. If they're saying negative things again and again and again, the common denominator is not everyone else, it's them. You have someone that has a negative outlook. We don't want that. You want someone with a more positive outlook. So again, ask the hard questions. Why did they leave previous roles? Yes, you can ask that. And I will also ask them too, if I feel like I'm not getting the answers that I want, did you leave on good terms? Would you mind if I called this lawyer? Pay attention to how they're communicating with you. So we look at all forms of communication. I look at text messages, emails, and voicemails. I look at their pronunciation. Did they use, periods and things like that? I know it's weird, but it's one of those things I check against. All right, so we want to start with strong interview questions. My first icebreaker question, always in an interview, is tell me about yourself and what you're currently doing. Is there a right or wrong answer to that? Tell me about yourself and what you're currently doing. There is no right or wrong answer to that. What I'm trying to do is to get you to open up and start talking to me. And I'm going to know within those first 30 seconds if I want to move on. I'm going to move on. Legally, I have to. But I already know, probably based on that, whether I really want to talk to you or not. I've got everything from I've had 7 divorces. I left a garden. Here's what I'm currently doing. So we just want to kind of narrow it down. What are you currently doing professionally? What are you doing right now? Why are you looking for a new position? What interested you in this role? I'm looking to see if they've done their homework. I want to know that they know who they're talking to. Who have they, interviewed for? Who have they applied for? If they don't know this, they don't know who they're talking to, they don't know what they're applying for, this is a good opportunity to really have this person go and do their homework. I have stopped interviews before and asked them to go do a little more research before they talk to me. I'm not in the business to waste my time. I have other things to do. So what does a good work day look like for you? We want to know, what are they wanting to do during slow times, down times? There's always a little bit of slow time. What are they going to do to fill that time? What are you actively working on to improve? What I'm really asking you is, what are your weaknesses? That's a great question to ask a candidate. There's 1,000 ways to ask that. You can come out and ask them, what do you feel like is your weakness? I start with, though, what are your strengths? And then I follow up with, what is something that you're actively working on to improve? They don't understand the question, and then I rephrase it. What is something that you feel like is personally and weaknesses of yours that you could be working on? I want to hear an answer, and I will not pass that question until I get an answer. That for me is a no-go. I want to know that they understand that they're also human. We're all capable of growth. I don't want to hear there's nothing that I can think of. Okay, that's a red flag. They think they're perfect and they're not capable of growth. Why can employees leave? Well, first of all, we're asking for a whole lot and not giving them hardly anything, right?
Yeah. I lived there, that's true.
Yeah, exactly. So lack of clarity, little or no feedback, role misalignment, burnout, they're not lazy. Be competitive where you can afford to be competitive. So I always want to tell everyone, be competitive where you can afford to be competitive. You don't have to compete with the large corporations, but what you can compete with is your culture. Maybe there's something else that you can offer, an incentive, something like that. All right, how to retain without overpaying. Clarity beats compensation. Consistent feedback. Again, having open, honest conversations with your employees, the good, bad, and the ugly. Use people's strengths. What are they good at? If they're very good at naturally at something, use that. Set clear priorities. When I say set clear priorities, do not hire someone without a written job description in place. That protects you and your employee. There are written instructions and expectations in place of what is expected of them for day one. When it might be time to be let go. When you are constantly having to compensate for their lack of skill, you're changing the role to fit them now. Their behavior is now affecting your team. Your team is in place before this person got hired. Your team was working really well. Why are you going to bring a stranger into your home and disrupt everything? You don't want to do that. Managing them is emotionally exhausting for you. Again, you don't need that. So we're going to let go the right way. We're going to be direct and respectful, focus on the role fit, protect the team and the business. Earlier decisions are kinder. All right, so key takeaways: hire intentionally, manage clarity, address issues early, and build a team that supports your vision. Again, at the end of the day, though, this is your business. It is your livelihood. It is not theirs. Protect your business. All right, you don't have to do this alone, but you do need the right process, and we do offer fractional recruiting, hiring, strategy, and ongoing support. So, does anyone have any questions for me?
It's fractional recruiting.
So we don't make you sign contracts. So we're really good for companies that have ongoing support. And what we do is we offer a flat monthly rate. I don't know if you've ever worked with a recruiter or not, but most recruiters will charge 15 to 30% of the first annual income. I personally think that's very expensive, especially for small business owners. Yes, yep. Wow. So we design our business to be much more affordable for everyone so that we can help more. And so we do offer the fractional, which is just a flat monthly rate. We could get you all of the hires in 1 month. It'd be the same cost if you were to do one hire. There we go. Thank you all so much. Any other questions? No? Yes.
Regarding the VAs, do you have like a personal assistant pool that you?
So for the executive assistant, so far it's just my team. We have not outsourced to VAs or anything. It's my team. I have several people on my team. So if we get there, which is on my 2026 goal, to increase my clients so that we can increase my team as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Good question though. Thank you all.
All right. Wow. All right. So one other system real quick before we go into what to do with all the money that you're now going to make now that you got your marketing down, you got referral systems down, you got your health, fitness, and you getting to sleep at night. This is a client of mine. He is Zamor Garcia out of Maryland. He's also part of our ecosystem partner. He's been an intellectual property attorney for 28 years. Attorney for 20 years. I swore up and down I would never work with another attorney the rest of my life. This guy actually changed my mind. And so, but one of the things that we talked about is I'm like, hey man, how are we going to do this? You want to do an in-house counsel all over the country? You know, stop. We're not going to do any marketing. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I want you to whip out your cell phone. All your clients in there, yeah. How many of them are calling you that you actually answer the phone? And he gave me about, I think, 21. And I said, okay, now this information I'm about to share with you, this is all gold to Chris if you want him to do your marketing because this is what he needs. I said, I want you to call him up I want you to call every single one of them up and I want you to ask them this. These are the ones you like. Do this with the people that you like. Okay, not the ones you don't like. Call them up and say, hey, Joe, hey, what's up, Ree? Hey, this dude's a business doctor, dude. Like he blame me, throw me under the bus. Feel free. I got thick skin. Okay. Say, you can do this afternoon. I guarantee you'll get referrals if you do this afternoon. Okay. You call them up and you say, because you did it, right? You call them up and you go, hey, this dude told me to do this. He told me to make a list of all my clients that I like, all my favorite clients. You're on the list. Pause. You're going to say thank you. Oh my God, thank you. They're going to get a pat on the back, hug, maybe cute them. You say, hey, I'm going to be doing some marketing with this guy named Chris. And going into 2026, I discovered that I want to have more clients just like you. So I got a couple of questions for you. You got a minute right now. Okay. If not, reschedule a time where they have 5 minutes. Ask them this question. Now, when I first came up with this question, when I gave this to a client, he's like, I don't know that I want to ask that question. Now, here's the question. If you were in a position to refer me to a friend or colleague, would you refer me? He didn't want to ask the question because some of his clients were going to tell him no. And that's good. They'll say, okay, well, what can I do to turn you into a yes? That's going to tell you what's broken in your company. Okay. But most of the time, 99% of the time, they'll say, yes, I would refer you. Okay, let's just say you're sitting down talking to the person right now that you're going to refer me to. What would you say about me? So how many of you would like to stop guessing with your marketing and start actually knowing what actually works? Okay. Because if you do this and you give the answers to this questions to that man right there, he's been thoroughly trained in what I'm about to tell you. He will blow up your marketing. Okay. He will attract and capture a ton more clients. They're going to give you 3 to 4 bullet points. That's what everybody's averaging right now that I give the strategy to. They're saying, I would say this, I would say this, I would say this. Write it down. Once they get a moment of pause, just say, okay, so let me make sure I'm clear. If you were in a position to refer me, you would. And if you were sitting there talking to the person, having coffee right now, you would tell them this, 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 and this. Is that correct? Yes. Next question, is there anything else you would add? They're going to come back with 1 to 2 bullet points. That's the average. So you're going to end up with 5 to 6 bullet points. All right, let me make sure I'm clear. Okay, so if you were talking to the person, you would say this, 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 and this. Is that correct? Yes. Okay, great. Now, here is the magic move. You take those 5 bullet points, call up Chris or do this yourself, okay? Preferably do this yourself before you go to Chris. That way he doesn't have to do it, okay? I want you to go over to ChatGPT. I want you to go over to Gemini if you don't have it. I want you to go over to Claude if you don't have it. Find Billy Bob's AI tool. It doesn't matter. Write it down yourself. Pick out an English book and come up with it on your own. Whatever you want to do, do the work yourself. Take those 5 bullet points, go in there and go, this is my client. Here is their website. They have been a client of mine for 5 years. This is the services that I provide to them. I asked them if they were in a position to refer me, would they? They said yes. I asked them what they would say. They gave me these 5 bullet points. Based on all of this, give me 5 quotes. 1 paragraph, no more than 1 paragraph. Boom. 30 seconds. Here's my 5 paragraphs. Okay. Take it. Oh, create for me an email that I can send to my client. Boom. Copy, email. Subject line, email. Drop the 5 things. Mary, please do me a favor. I created these 5 paragraphs based off the 5 bullet points you gave me. Please select the one you like the most, or feel free to rewrite it. She's going to respond back. I love number 2. Love number 2. Okay, great. Now, you're not done. This is where the magic move comes. This is where most people drop the ball and they don't understand how much gold is in them, their hills. Okay? Call them up. We're busy, by the way. We are business owners. When you email any business owner, do yourself a favor and text them that you sent them an email. Okay? Alicia knows this. My email has how many emails in it?
86,000.
I thought it was over 110 at this point. Okay. So I never clear out the email. If you call my voicemail, what does it say? Do not leave me a voicemail here. It will not be returned. Okay?
I got it down to 82,000.
You got to look at her straight it up, man.
It's making me crazy.
There you go. Okay.
I got names.
That's it, yeah. And so text me, okay? And so I text my client and say, hey, I just sent you an email. Now, they're gonna get to it, they're not gonna get to it, we're all busy. Don't let it hang there. 24, 48 hours from now, you pick up the phone, remember your favorite client. You call them up. Hey, just wanted to touch base with you. Thank you so much for helping me out. I saw that you picked number 2. And you're going after business owners just like me. Can I use your first name, last name, and your company name? So when I do marketing with my buddy Chris over here, it drives attraction and gets you attention. They're going to say yes 110% of the time. Okay. If I call them up and they have not chosen, hey, I just wanted to follow up because I know you're busy. I'm busy. Real quick, did you get a chance to look at the 5 quotes? No, really haven't had a chance to. Tell you what, just can I pick one for you? Yeah, great. I'll pick one for you. You're going after businesses just like me. Can I use your first name, last name, and company name? Because my buddy Chris, who does my marketing, is going to drive traffic to it. Yes, you can. Now, guess what? After you get 5 to 10 of those quotes, I want you to take those, drop them into ChatGPT and go, here's my 10 clients here that all of them are saying about me right now. Based on all of that, give me all the keywords that I need to give to my buddy Chris to update all my marketing to go out and capture more of my clients that I like. How many of you want to go to a pond and fish with the little red and white bobber and know that the bait you have on the hook is going to get eaten? That's how you do it. Do it twice a year. Engage with him. He'll help you knock it out of the park. That's what I did with Rui. So when we launched his program 3 months ago, in-house counseling, we went back to all of his past clients, even the clients that fired his butt. Okay? Even the clients that fired him. And some of them became clients because of this strategy. Okay. Every single time you want a client this afternoon, do this. You want a client tomorrow, do this. Economy crashes, do this. 2008 happens, do this. COVID hit, this is what Sean and Frank Sands did. That's it. Okay. Anytime you want a client, do this. Okay. That's power base. You want to get the referral systems? You all got my website, johnpyron.com. Send me a text. Alicia will put you. Notice that I said Alicia. I ain't doing jack no more. Alicia's going to make sure that you have access to. Can't hire her to get you an executive assistant, man. Up the game. Now that you got all the money, okay. What was it? 1.1 million. Okay, 780,000 payroll. This company has. I mean, they're losing money, but they think they're making money. Okay. And when I get into their books, I discover I got to get Leanne in, which I am. Now, she's going to come up and tell you how to keep some of that money, and I'll give you an ugly secret. All of you to think you don't need a bookkeeper. Okay. The IRS has an unwritten rule within the Internal Revenue Service. If you get audited as a business, it doesn't matter if you're an LLC, sole proprietor, whatever, and you're doing $50,000 a year or more in revenue, and they find out you don't have a bookkeeper, guess what they're going to do, baby? They're digging. Because they know you don't have it together. Okay. With that said, bring up my go-to bookkeeper. There you go.
All right.
Just like
Great.
it's better. Yeah. We'll talk about the animal.
All right. Oh, hey everyone, Leanne Sanford here, I own P&L Business Services. I'm glad to be here. I've really enjoyed listening to everyone here this afternoon. So when we think about 2026, every day almost of every week, I talk to a business owner, a potential client. And it's almost always the same thing. Either there's 2 things. Either we've got someone we are paying someone and they're not doing the work, or we can't afford it and we're not doing it. A lot of times these business owners come to me in a state of panic. They're trying to get funding and they can't because they're living in chaos. And they don't have any books put together properly. And if they do, it's a nightmare. So we're going to talk about from chaos to clarity, how clean books can transform your 2026 growth strategy. Without clean books, you have no strategy, just in case anyone didn't already know that. So obviously I'm Leanne Sanford. I come with well over 25 years of experience in accounting. Started doing books with my grandmother when I was about 14 years old, so it's a little bit longer than 25 years. I hold a master's degree in accountancy. I am not a CPA. I always like to just make sure everyone understands that. I am not a CPA. I'm not sitting for a 16-hour state exam after 25 plus years of experience. I do file tax returns. I have the e-file identification number for any of those that are, people question that. And then for me, my why is helping other business owners.
All right.
It's not an exciting world, accounting, but when a business owner listens to what we have to say, it changes their life. Okay. So the reality, most businesses are flying blind. How many business owners in here? Is everyone business owners? Everyone's business owners? Okay. How many of you log into your bank account in the morning to see how your business is doing? Is that all you look at is your bank account? You feel attacked.
I feel attacked.
I know you don't, but still. So
No, I mean it is, but yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's coming out of it. Then you ask me like on Friday, don't you look at this? No, I don't look at that. That's why I have you.
true story. Okay, so a lot of business owners, they don't know their true profit margins. Your cash is king, obviously. I think as all business owners, we all know that. As John has illustrated a few times, you can sell and sell and sell and sell. If you don't know what you're spending or what's coming up or what you need, or even what your bottom line is, it's a giant waste of time. Giant waste of time. You're going to give yourself a headache. A lot of business owners rely on bank balances to set reports. They're not monitoring their AR and AP. If you don't know who owes you and who you owe, it's tough to operate that way. Their books are always behind and they don't have a true monthly close process. How many of you are doing your own books?
Again, that's true.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I saw a couple of people. To see. So another thing is business owners don't always understand their financial reports. Now, if you're not an accountant and you haven't taken any accounting class, you're not going to necessarily understand it. But it's important that you do. It's your business. You can partner with someone who will explain your financial reports to you. And it's important that you look at them at least every month. So there's no budgeting, no forecasting, no KPI tracking, or documentation systems. The IRS needs a documentation system because receipts, things like that. And then what happens is when you really have no idea what's truly going on, you're making emotional decisions. Okay, you're not strategizing with your business. Okay, and that's a tough place to be, especially on the back end when you realize what you've done. The hidden cost of messy records. You don't realize it until you're looking at it. You don't have your books going and you don't have someone helping you keep your books running all the time. You don't know what you don't know, and they're hidden costs. So you've got missed deductions equals paying Uncle Sam more than you need to. Who wants to do that? Duplicate or incorrect payments, paying somebody else more money than what you need to. Expensive year-end cleanup. When someone comes to me in March and they're like, hey, I've got to have my tax return filed on time. Oh, by the way, you don't have any books for the previous year, the whole entire year. Guess what? My fee goes up, y'all. Then you've got cash flow blind spots. That's a huge deal. If you don't know, again, you don't know who owes you, you don't know what you owe, you're flying blind all the time. You're losing access to funding opportunities. If you try to go get a loan from a bank and you walk in with financials that, no offense, you've produced yourself, or someone completely unskilled has produced for you, that bank is gonna go, no thanks. And then you're losing opportunities. And again, back to my same old emotional decisions. It's really important to stay on top of your books. Part two. Part two. So a lot of times what will end up is you've got inaccurate pricing and you don't understand your margins. Higher IRS, Chris, notice anyone like getting those letters? No. Wasted owner and staff time. Y'all, as business owners, I hope everyone in this room understands that your time equals money. Any amount of time you spend wasted doing something else is hours you could have billed to a client. It's time you could have spent building your business. So none of us are in the business of wasting our time. And we certainly don't want to waste the time of the people we're paying, because now it's costing us twice as much. Bad decisions driven by bad data, operational strain across the business. It's a big price to pay for something. For someone like us, it's easy to keep up. From an accountant's perspective, this is easy for us. We do this all day. What clean books actually mean? So we've got accurate categorization of every income and expense. They're in the right buckets. All of the accounts are reconciled. I have this conversation every day. A credit card is an account, guys. A loan is an account. The money that you're putting in and out of your business as an owner, that's an account that needs to go reconciled. If you're pulling money out of you're spending money on the side, and maybe you're not putting it into your bank account, but if you're spending it out of your own pocket directly, if you don't give it, nobody knows. So that's an account that needs to be reconciled. Complete documentation attached and organized. Software makes that so easy. QuickBooks Online, for example, you can attach the receipt right inside of it. I've sat through several audits, IRS, that's saved their butts. No unexplained balances or uncategorized transactions. That one's a big problem. There's an account in the books called undeposited funds. And what happens is you receive a payment and then you don't click deposit to bank. You've got a bank feed set up and now you're already recording your income. So what have you done? You've overstated your income. You're going to pay almost anything. Having a professional looking at your books keeps that sort of stuff. You need a monthly close process, which includes reconciling all those accounts. Reliable financial statements, your profit and loss, your balance sheet, and your cash flow. Consistent bookkeeping workflows month after month after month. We don't want to do this quarterly, guys. Even if you're small, get in the habit of doing it monthly. You know, you can be a solopreneur is the new word I keep hearing. You can be a solopreneur and still need to have your books done every single month. Do you want to stay a solopreneur or are you wanting to grow your business? Most people want to scale to some degree. Clean books equals better business decisions. Clarity on true profitability. You know what's working and what isn't. If your books aren't clean, you don't. Accurate cash flow insights. Predict expenses, payroll, and upcoming needs with confidence. You get rid of that cash blind spot. Pricing and budgeting become data driven. I've seen people actually, about 3 weeks ago, I had someone bring me a budget that they had written. They were mighty proud of their budget. It was pulled out of thin air, to put it nicely, because the data didn't back up the budget. It made absolutely no sense. So pricing and budget, yeah. Faster and more confident decisions. No guessing. Decisions are backed by reliable financial data. Guys, the numbers don't lie. Numbers never lie. We kind of live by that in my world. Numbers don't lie. Spot trends and problems early. You can identify overspending, slow paying clients, and margin issues before they really become a problem and get away from you. That's a big deal. We all overspend. I overspent on marketing last year, guys. Okay, your path from chaos to clarity. We start with chaos. We're operating without reliable numbers. The books are always behind. Cash flow is unpredictable. Decisions are made emotionally. Then we build you repeatable workflow systems, monthly close process, ARAP, automation, and consistency. And then comes clarity. You're confident in your business. When you're confident in your business, there isn't anything. Promise. Systems that bring order to chaos. Real monthly close process, APAR workflow. Pay attention to that. Pay attention. Receipt and documentation system. That's really a CYA, and you need a CYA. Cloud-based accounting software. I'm old school. Boy, I loved QuickBooks Desktop, y'all. And I was resistant to cloud-based. But guess what? That is amazing. I can work anywhere I want to go. It's pretty nice to have. Automation tools, automate as much as you can. I'm a believer in automation. Check your automation.
Yeah.
Because in the accounting world, it's about 50% correct. About 50% accurate, that AI. And then consistency in your bookkeeping routines. If you've got a firm, they should be doing your books every single month for you. Just keep it consistent. It's part of what we do. So this is what your 2026 financial visibility dashboard is going to look like. You're going to have your reports and you're going to have your KPIs. I'm running out of time. So turning clean books into a 2026 growth plan. Use accurate financials to build realistic budgets. Identify profitable versus unprofitable areas. Forecast cash need ahead of time. Set quarterly financial goals and turn historical data into forward-looking strategy. Look at your historical data before you try to come up with numbers. Okay, why your business can't afford help. I'm going to say this. You can't afford not to have someone helping you. 10 times a month. It's so expensive. I can't afford it. I can't afford it. Guess what? You can't afford not to. Because the price you pay when you don't have help with your books comes in the form of IRS penalties, letters, and then your cost triples, quadruples. So, and again, it kind of leads back to business owners, your time is money. Questions? This is one of my favorite sayings. We were always focused on our profit and loss statement, but cash flow was not a regularly discussed topic. It was as if we were driving along watching only the speedometer when in fact we were running out of gas. Oh, I blew through that one.
$286,413. Okay, that number. Kira Comini, her best friend Mary was doing the bookkeeping. Okay. Calls me up, says, hey, I told her that she shouldn't be doing bookkeeping. We're going to hire a full charge bookkeeper. It's just not her personality. And she said, yeah, no problem. She doesn't want to do the bookkeeping anyway. She still wants to do payroll. I'm like, she's embezzling from you. Yeah. No way. She's my personal friend. We do holidays together, vacations together. Christmas, New Year's, blah, 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 blah. And when you're running $4.5 million a year in revenue, it's easy to miss out on the Staples card, the Office Depot card, one extra payroll check per quarter for 5 years. And she's your best friend.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a good, solid outside bookkeeper, you'll never catch it. So did it cost her money? Absolutely, it cost her money. Okay. The reason I like Leanne's firm is she has checks and balances in the firm. Okay. There's multiple, it's not just her, multiple people. So one person going to do the bookkeeping, the other person going to verify it was done correctly. You need multiple checks and balances in your business. Okay. And so the best thing I would do, I don't care who you're using. If you're using your grandmother, your mother, your very best friend, If you don't have her do a checks and balances, a second opinion audit, you're just playing Russian roulette with your business. And you do not want to find out. And I can't tell you how many war stories I found out with clients. You know, if I wanted to give them a hug, I'd have a lot of hugs. Okay. Oh my God. No, you should have a checks and balances, and she is definitely the go-to person. We met because I referred a client. I'm like, I need somebody to refer to. Mike Messer and Alicia were like, you got to call her. Bert knocked it out of the park, man. So definitely reach out. Thank you for that. Before we close, I know we started a little bit late, so that's why we're a little bit late getting done here. But I want to give Stephen a couple of minutes here. Okay, this is a very, very important year in this country's history. This year, more people are going to turn 65 than any other time in history in this country. This year will never be repeated as long as any of us in here are alive. But you're going to see a massive amount of people pull out all the money they worked with people like him on, and it's got to go somewhere. Okay, so kind of give us some ideas on how we as business owners can capture some of that money and why it's important for us to sit with somebody like you to show us about our books and our finances.
Yeah. Well, I'll skip the introduction part. I'm Steven. Happy to chat after this with anybody that wants to. But yeah, to echo what he said, estimates show something like $25 trillion in the next 10 years is going to be transferred from people that are of the age of moving on from this life to the next. So what do we do with that money? Where does it go? You know, we have, as business owners, several pain points that we see a lot. We specialize working with two groups of people. One is kind of the supplemental individual side. If you are an employee somewhere and you're kind of earning benefits from that way, and we kind of help supplement that. But really our focus is on small business owners and what that looks like. And so don't have to raise your hands, but some well-known issues that we've heard often is cash flow and liquidity. You know, Leanne just mentioned how cash is king, but how much of that cash needs to be going into your business versus how much does that need to be paid? You know, John's mentioned he has all these companies that make a lot of money, and then all the employees are making more than the others. So how do we figure out what the right number is to pay yourself versus put back into that business? Taxes, Leanne just talked about those. We don't operate in the same space as Leanne. We trust her expertise on that side. We want to help you on the back end on how do you maximize the tax mitigation whenever you're actually taking that money out. You spend all this time accruing it, putting it away for a later date. How do we get there in the most efficient way so that once we get there, we take it out effectively? And kind of why I'm happy to go last also is Alicia mentioned the employee hiring side, but also the employee retention side. Through group benefits and things, that's a good way to help keep those good employees that you have. It costs you 3, 4, sometimes 5 times the amount to hire somebody new versus keep those employees because of all those things. Make bad hires. Once we finally find the right people, we want to keep them around. And so that's kind of the areas that we really operate in. Another big one is how do I retire and can I retire? Like, what's that plan look like? How do we get to the retirement and know that, hey, once I'm there, I can walk away, I can sell this business, I can turn this over. Walking you through that process step by step, bringing on people like Leanne to help us with navigate the certain areas is kind of how we operate. You know, we're not a one-stop shop. We want you to find those other people. We want to work in conjunction with Leanne, with other areas of the financial spectrum to where overall we're all staying in our lane and able to really give you the best service we can give you. Really quick, but I know we're out of the park, so
you knock it out of the park. So one of the things about financial planning is you don't want to wait until you need the money to figure out you don't have any money back. There's a hidden message there. You don't want to wait until you need the money in your business to get a line of credit. Can tell you how many clients I've gone through, even 3 of them right now. It's like I gave them to the perfect finance guy, everything on a silver platter, and they didn't have their act together on the bookkeeping side. You know, but they didn't plan reserves in the business. And then they get told no. And you know, cash flow is everything. Operational, you know, being able to have operating capital is important. And so definitely you have a 3-pronged system when it comes to finances. You have a bookkeeper, you have an accountant. Okay, you do not need a CPA till you hit about $3 million. Would you agree? Yes or yes? Or yes or no?
Yeah, from a tax returns perspective,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
So once you start getting into the higher dollar volumes, it makes sense to do a CPA. But really, it's just another great bookkeeper that can make sure that that first bookkeeper did their job. What you can expect is 1 or 2 mistakes, okay? Because nobody's perfect. The checks and balances is very important. You have that nailed down. Next becomes tax. How many of you in here own an entity? Okay, LLC, S Corp, C Corp. How many of you are sole proprietors? Okay. How many of you wrote yourself an Augusta Rule check in 2025? What is the Augusta Rule? Well, good. You need to talk to Leanne because every single one of you missed out on one of the best tax deductions ever gifted to us in 2017. And you could have written a check to yourself instead of giving the money to the IR and the S. Okay. So I highly recommend you get with these 2 individuals, nail down your business finances, and thanks a lot. I'm gonna close real quick. All right, so now I'm gonna talk the inner game, the outer game. Let's close it out, and we're gonna talk about how to take massive action. It's gonna be one of the most funnest parts of the deal. I'm gonna ask you, this is the group participation exercise. We're playing a game called What Level Exercise. And basically what I'm gonna do is it's afternoon. I'm gonna say good afternoon. And on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest level energy you could possibly think of, 1 means you're eating bonbons, you're half dead on a couch. Okay. We're gonna play at a level, let's call it a level 6. Okay. So let's practice real quick. Good afternoon. Okay, great. Level 6, man. You guys did a great job. Best audience I've had all day. All right, next, let's play it on level 8. A little bit more energy, a little bit more enthusiasm. And if you want to smile this time, you have my permission to do so. You ready? Good afternoon. Awesome. Okay. Finally, level 10, full out, highest level possible. Now, when I think of a level 10, we're talking the most energy you could possibly, really impossible to play at level 10 every day, maybe 8, 7 or 8. But when I think of level 10, I'm thinking I'm not sitting down, I'm getting up. I want everybody to get up, give everybody a high five, yell it to the top of your lungs, high five everybody, scream, etc. That would be considered a level 10. Okay. So you're going to get outside of your comfort zone if you're in your comfort zone right now. Okay. Are you ready? Yeah. Are you ready? Good afternoon. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. First, we played at a 6, and then we played at a 10. Okay. First a 6 and then a 10. So let me ask this very important question. As you showed up in your business in 2025, the more honest you are with this answer to this question, you don't have to raise your hand. You share it between you, yourself, and you. Okay. But in 2025, when you look back on your business, what level did you play at? Some of you, I can just tell them looking at your face, you're like, yes. Others are like, ugh, got me. Hanging out. Like me, I constantly, one of the things I learned early on in my, as a mentor with coaches and consultants, 6 of them now over the last 35 years, is I can consistently play at a level 7. Okay? Almost impossible to play at level 10 on a long-term basis without literally killing yourself. Okay? But so there are lots of you in here that are playing at that high level consistently, and high five for doing so. Okay, in business. Let me ask a question in a different way. Over the last 12 months, 2025, as it relates to the relationships that are the most important to you, spouse, significant other, kids, family members, what level did you play at? See, it's a different room. You can rock it in business. I know a client right now. We helped rescue this year. Did a 90-day transformation for this dude, 85 hours a week. Wife and kids have a great lifestyle, great house, great car, everything. His doctor flat out told me he's 43 years old. either change something because you now have hypertension and you're gonna find yourself dead. Okay? Took us 30 days to do a transformation for him, got him down to 35 hours a week. Wife came up, gave me a high five, said thank you. On the flip side, what was really sad, very, very sad, is Rui Garcia is a more referrals. One of his clients, an electrician client, stuck at about $700K a year, literally working 90 hours, 5 kids. Okay. Laid out the 90-day plan for him. Transformation will get you down to 35 hours. Literally would not face that he has change. Don't let that be you. You want to play at a high level in every area of life. Balance is a facade. Life balance is a myth. Okay, no matter what anybody has told you, the key to true balance is to be 100% present. When you're with your wife, you're with your wife, or your spouse or significant other, your husband. When you're with your child, you're with your child. When you're at work, you're at your work. When you're here, you're here. When you're on the phone with a client, you're with the client. When you're present like that, you're operating at the highest level possible. Who decides what level you play at? You do. Okay. So in order to play at a high level, you gotta expand your comfort zone. Most people say get outside of your comfort zone. All of you are here, you're already outside of your comfort zone. You started a business for credit cloud, you're already outside of your comfort zone. Now it comes down to expanding that comfort zone, not resting on your laurels, and then you can take some new action. And one of the new actions that you can take, like I talked about, is we have a mastermind group coming up. The other action you can take is pick one of these speakers or all of them and meet with every single one of them. Okay. I hand selected them because, in my opinion, their services are what impacts my life as a business owner consistently. Okay. The baseline strategy, I'll send everybody the slide deck. I'll send everybody the recording. Go back and listen to it. That baseline strategy process will change your life. You can just get one step better, one thing better every single month, every single quarter, every single year. You compound that in all those years in a row, you will have the most amazing years of your life going forward. Join this mastermind group. Okay, we're going to do a live mentorship call each week for businesses. So we're going to do a private member LinkedIn group, exclusive members area website with content, which you're going to help me create.
Yep,
Set up. Online content library for business owners. She's a funnel builder, very funnel godmother.
That's right.
That's it. Annual 2-day business owners boot camp that we're going to do literally 2 days, probably down in Florida this year. You get access to that. 100% guaranteed. You don't feel it was valuable within the first month, say, John, you know what? You showed up, you had a booger hanging out of your nose, and I want out. Okay? I'll give you your money back. Okay. You're going to get all this for signing up today. TTI assessments just to tell you exactly who you are, how to talk to you, how not to talk to you, what motivates you. We give you a 30-minute coaching session with me one-on-one, or Chris Beasley, my ops COO. Workshop for a one-page plan, marketing to sales funnel, LinkedIn. All these things that I have done, I'm going to give to you for free. And the best part is it's cheap. Okay. I'm making it super less expensive because I'm offering it to you guys first and you guys only. Okay, we're gonna get this offer. After today, Alicia, just a FYI, after today, this price goes to $997. Okay, and that's for businesses between 500K and 1.5 million. Businesses that are below that have startup mode up to 500K will be at $497 a month. It's a 12-month commitment. 30-day guarantee, and businesses that are between 1.5 and 3 million will be at $14.97 a month. 3 separate mastermind groups that will be formed this year. Maximum people, 12 people per group. Okay, every year, every single time I've done this for the last God knows how many years, it will sell out. It just will sell out. You get to keep all the content, all the recordings. You get access to every single piece of content, reference materials that I have, and best part, there's no risk. So. This is something you want to do. How do you do it? Just scan this thing. Okay. I scanned it, by the way. She went to town last night. She actually created a funnel for this thing. I was like, she did that like in my, you know, that's one of the benefits of high level. That's why they need to come to you. I was blown away. I don't even, now here's a key. Here's a message for you. There's a business owner. This is why you need Alicia. I don't want to know what's going on in my business. Okay? She knows speaking on stage, talking to people, creating content. Don't bug me. I don't want to know anything else. What's my bank balance? I have no idea. You'll have to talk to somebody else. Well, I don't know about that, but are you worth the investment? Think about it this way. Whether you sign up today or not, you're going to pay anyway. $99 is a lot less expensive. If you paid money to be here, that will be a credit towards whatever it is you decide to do. Okay. But the cost of not doing anything is the same. You know, you get to continue to go out alone. Why did you join the mastermind group? Carol?
Oh, yes. Because it keeps me motivated.
Every week, right?
Every
We
week.
talk.
Every week.
And she has the benefit of being the only one in there because I jumped the gun and I pulled the trigger. I didn't want to launch it till February, but
I know.
you know, she's yeah. And she got the super sweetheart deal. So, so whatever
Love
it
you,
is,
John.
get it. Get a mentor is the point. Okay. Remember what I told you about Gary? Remember what I told you about Dave? And most importantly, get a hold of me. Okay. I got my exchange kid. Like she gave, you know, she what was it? Andres, Spain, right? And Edo. This is in my like. You want some great graphic people? I got some exchange kids. So there you go. But yeah, connect with me. Love to connect with you. If there's any place that you would like me to go and speak at or come and talk to your team or anything like that, let me know. We're going to do probably about 12 of these this year. Okay. We're taking the band that you saw come together right now. We're going to be talking. We're going to be taking the show on the road. And any place that you guys have in mind that you feel would benefit from this, we're going to go and change a bunch of business owners' lives. Okay. With that said, I'm going to close it the same way I opened it. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for bringing us together. I pray that you would bless each one of these business owners as they leave here, help them to connect with one another, work with them, and bless their businesses, bless their families, and leave them prosperous. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, guys. Now, what were you saying, John?
Are you?
Yeah.
Where are you based on?
So,
Yeah.
It's one of the next big events coming next week, right?